Chris Avalon Unfiltered, bitch.
Hey y'all, welcome and happy Wednesday, first day of July. It's your boy Chris Avalon, and welcome to a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered, a show where we talk about all things going on in celebrity news, hot topics, and pop culture, whatever's going on in the entertainment news. We kiki about it here. And we got a lot of tea to spill today, including it looked like it's going to be even a worse week coming up for our friends over there at Supergirl. Well, Warner Brothers, they're about to really deal with this bombshell because Minions and Monsters is coming out, and they're aiming for an $80 million weekend because, July 4th is coming up this weekend. And I think they're getting a 4-day weekend or something or another. So we have that. Plus, there's one of y'all favorite actresses could be up for being in the new Bourne reboot. We'll get into that. We also got to talk about how, even though after the failure of Supergirl, they still go on, allegedly, the rumor is they're looking to use some more smaller characters and give them their own film. So allegedly they're trying to fast track this Bane and Deathstroke movie that was announced a couple of months ago. Plus, we have a casting director, a former 007 casting director, who says she does not think it is a good idea to even consider Jacob Elordi or Callum Turner, aka Mr. Dula Pete, to be our new James Bond, to follow in, Daniel Craig's footsteps. We also got to talk about Blake Lively still out here being a damn nuisance and an idiot because she wonder why people don't like her buck-tooth having ass. Because apparently now she's trying to send Justin Baldoni's people an $8 million bill that they want him to pay her legal fees. We're going to get into that foolishness when we get around to that. Plus, we got to talk about, speaking of legal, we got to talk about Chris Brown having to pay his former housekeeper $13 million because he couldn't keep them dogs in check. Some people said, how dare y'all call Chris Brown a dog? But anyway, we'll get into that topic when we get around to it. Plus, we got to talk about Lizzo. Child. She's still out here blaming everybody but herself on why that album flopped. But that's not what we're going to get into. We got to get into her accusers. So remember the people that accused her of the sexual harassment and creating a hostile work environment? They saying because her album flopped, we didn't mean for it to get to be at this level. This wasn't our intention to take her down and to ruin her career and put her in the Kaya Asylum or whatever it is y'all want to go. I'm like, really? So I can't wait to get to that topic. Plus, we got to talk about Kathy Griffin revealing that she was banned from the Tonight. Now that I think about it, I have to pull that clip up. Hold on. I have the clip, but I want to play it for y'all when it comes around to it. So I just had to go find that real quick. But anyway, now I gotta be back. Okay, so she said she was fired from the Tonight. She was banned from the Tonight Show because she was being too controversial and went in and dragged Jimmy Fallon for having Conor McGregor's controversial behind on his show. So it was okay for you to have somebody like Conor McGregor and all the things he's been accused of, because he was accused of rape. And I'm not sure if that trial is still going on or if it was settled or whatever the case was, but he was accused of, so you can have an alleged rapist on your show, but Kathy Griffin, because of what she did, what is it, with Trump or whatever it was that she did, y'all can't have her on there. We already know that they moved the goalposts when it comes to men. Like, they're held to a different standard. So we'll get into that story. Plus, Will Wheaton from Star Trek The Next Generation, Stand By Me, a bunch of other films. He's a child actor. I think he still does act. Went in on Dwayne Johnson. Two Star Trek people actually did. It was him and George Takei went in on Dwayne Johnson, calling him a coward because of what his stance on politics, even though at one time he was talking about he was going to get into politics and run for president, which your ass wouldn't have won, sir. But we'll get into that. Plus, we got to talk about, we got motifs surrounding that Milania Giudice situation where she ended up arrested. We also got to talk about Madonna allegedly going to be performing she's going to make an appearance, I'll say, this weekend at London Pride. Karamo went and spilled tea on, he didn't really say who it was, but the jig is up. Apparently, Karamo and Jussie Smollett are hunching. So we're going to get into that story. Plus, we got to talk about Lee Daniels revealing why he has mixed feelings about Pride, even though Pride ended yesterday, just in New York and LA, but Pride does continue. We got what is it? We also got, don't we have Palm Beach Pride coming up in like November or something? But anyway, so he's revealing why he got mixed feelings about Pride. Elliot Page and got a makeover, and child, why did my ping jump when I seen him in that ripped body? The transman is turning it out in these streets. So we gonna show y'all his body. Plus, speaking of the trans, the Supreme Court showing their whole ass in regards to this whole ruling on trans athletes, and some of our favorite drag race girls who also happen to be trans, such as Sasha Colby and Aja, to name a few, have spoken out in regards to this whole situation. So we'll get to their commentary once we get around to that topic. So yeah, it's an action-packed show. So before we get to all those topics, if you're pleased, do me a solid, hit that like button, subscribe, smash the notification bell, hype it, really help push the show out there. I'm noticing the numbers is growing, the fandom is growing, and I appreciate all of y'all that continue to support this messy show. Please and thank you. Not happy 65th birthday to the People's Princess. Happy birthday. You said all my orders. Well, yeah, I got my alert this morning for the CD. The CD I got from Madonna's Confessions. Got that email this morning. Yesterday, the vinyl shipped. So it's only a matter of time because, we'll see how this all turns out. And you said, did you see the photo shoot of BB Rexha where she compared the Kaya Asylum to an actual mental institution? I did not see that article. Send that to me and I'll probably add that to the show on, tomorrow's show. And also, just so y'all know, I have Erica Lon who does Rico Star, the big gay clothing line or whatever. He's coming on the show tomorrow. So we gonna have a guest bitch on the show, which I don't think I've ever done I don't think I've had a guest on this show. I've had guests on my previous shows when my producer was producing it. But yeah, since there's people out here that like to uplift businesses, like black business and stuff. So I'm gonna take the Funky Dineva approach. Funky Dineva does he has a lot of like black business owners and stuff going on the show. And I'm gonna have the queer ones come on here and promote their stuff. So if you also happen to be black and queer, y'all could definitely come on and hit me up in the email, Chris Avalon official 481@gmail.com. I almost forgot my damn email. Or you could just look me up on what is it? On my email information, all of the other stuff is in the description on the stuff. So if y'all got a business y'all want to promote it, y'all could definitely come on and I'll give y'all a moment to shine and sell your shit. Maybe I'll try to get them to give us some special discounts and stuff. You know how I like to work a little something in this situation. Janet Jackson fans, Dragons. Look, Janet need to stop or take time from whispering and getting Tiana Taylor coochie bubbling over there at the BET Awards and actually get up and reveal why. Okay, so why aren't you in this new movie? Which is probably going straight to Netflix because I don't think it's going to the theater. But it's funny, it's her child that's getting married. So why isn't she in the movie? So I'm guessing what y'all doing is y'all pulling like what y'all did with Bad Boys 4, where Teresa Randall, because apparently Teresa Randall, I think, is out there where the buses don't run. So she got replaced with Tasha Smith. Because that's not who Martin Lawrence was married to in any of the movies. It was always Teresa Randall. So then they put Tasha Smith up in there. So now I think that's what they're doing with Taraji, where she's playing the Janet role because Janet ain't in the movie. But the question remains, why is she not in the movie? And if y'all try to say, oh, she not old enough to play somebody's adult mother. First of all, Janet just turned 60. So on what planet is it believe? I mean, yes, in real life, she does have a young child. That's probably like what, 10 years old? Because she waited forever to punch a baby out of coochie. But if you believe the mother rumors, she already got a child from the previous relationship. But with this whole situation, it's like, yeah, because she looks so youthful or whatever, young and whatever, she could have a young child. But in real life, the lady is 60 years old. She could be somebody's grandmother at this damn point. Especially since y'all want to put that grandma energy over there on Madonna, you could put that shit on Janet too. Janet is like what, 7 years younger than Madonna, 8 years younger than Madonna. couple of years older than Kylie Minogue, because Kylie Minogue is like what, 56, 57. So if y'all gonna be mad about the whole Janet situation, y'all need to be mad at the fact. Ask her why you not in the movie. Maybe it was scheduling conflicts. You know, she like touring, doing the same damn songs and the same choreography over and over. So she was probably doing that. Didn't have time on her schedule to actually come do the movie. Or maybe she read the script, was like, next, because we all know Tyler can't write to save his damn life, but y'all do eat up whatever it is that he be producing, the same bullshit. I'll go to the store over the weekend. I was like, nah, I'll go to the store and get my copy. Child, I went to Madonna's website and bought it. So I've been doing a deep dive of the It Ends With. I don't even want to talk about this case, but this story came out today. I mean, was it yesterday? Yes, we got to talk about after 2 years, because I got an itch to read the book, so I watched one of your videos about it. And you said Blake is just making herself look worse and worse. Her and Ryan should retire. They ain't going no damn where, because they're, egomaniacal maniacs and they love money. A friend of mine just sent me Bizarre. It sounds really good and high quality. I am not listening to anything until Friday, and I'm literally going to wait until Friday, meaning I'm going to wake up. I already got a plan. I'm going to wake up early. I'm going to do a show of the album reaction. I'm gonna record it. I can't do it live. I can't do it like how I normally do it, because I already know if I put it on YouTube, I'm going to get hit with all the copyright things. So I'm going to actually listen to it for the first time, and I want to give a genuine reaction on how it, on how I feel about the record. And now that I got YouTube Premium, they actually will have the album on YouTube where I can listen to it in the proper way, instead of having to deal with, I got to look for it. Because I was trying the other day how to log into my Apple Music through my laptop, and for some reason it just was not letting me get up in there. So I was like, fuck you, I don't forget it. Then I gave up, and it's just like, whatever. Okay. Yes, Lourdes is on one of the tracks. She's on a song called The Test, which I did hear a little bit of a snippet of it. I think Madonna posted a snippet of it I saw it on her stories, or was Lourdes' stories. I can't remember, but I did hear a bit of the song. I'm like, it sounded like a Lourdes track. But then I heard, what was it? The MLVC podcast was like, when they listened to Lourdes music, it was like, oh, this be something great that Madonna would do with her music. I'm like, wait a minute. First of all, can we let Madonna just do her thing and stop trying and let Lourdes do her thing? Because when Madonna was talking about the song that they worked on together, it was a lot about Lourdes growing up as the child of one of the biggest pop stars on the planet, so that makes her automatically a nepo baby. The whole vitriol that comes with that, and that's from the media, people's perceptions, all this other stuff. And Madonna said, like, her daughter wants to work at her own pace and do her own thing without having to rely on her mother. And it's like, yes, Madonna will get you through the door because of who her child is, and people will show up because Lola is Madonna's daughter. But once the people get in the room, you got to do the rest of the work. You got to prove that that you really want this. Like, this is something that you were born to do. And if you want to do music, you're going to have to rely on your own instincts and put in a lot of the work, and not rely, oh, well, my mama's Madonna. So, okay, so we saw you perform that one time. You was whack. And now I'm like, and then some people gonna be like that song. What was it? Michelle Visage said, and Mitch Farino turned it into a track. Was it Mitch Farino or was it somebody else? But it was like, you're not Madonna, girl. Remember that song? It's out there somewhere. I think it was either Mitch Farino that did it, or, oh my God, who's the queen that sang Faggoty Attention? He did stuff like for Hey Queen. So I can imagine, like, that's the thing. So as a child, you have to work hard, and she was going through what she was going through because she was in the shadow of her mother, whatever the case was, and they decided to write a song to heal their relationship, which we didn't know they had issues. We know about Madonna and Rocco having issues because that shit was public, but the fact that with her and Lourdes, we didn't know that there was stuff going on between them. So it's fairly interesting that I like the fact that these two have worked something out in song format. And I'll probably repeat this again when I listen to the song, and I'll probably have a different multi-layered situation, and I'll probably bring this up again. But it's like, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to hearing that collaboration. But I was like, no, let Lourdes do what she do. But then at the same time, if you really think about it, they're talking about that sound that Lourdes is doing. Madonna did that on the Ray of Light album. So she was dabbling in drum and bass and that whole vibe. And that's kind of like what Lourdes is doing with her music. Go on her website, all the money goes to her versus 25. Yeah, that's why I was like, and that's one of the reasons why I went and I bought. Look, I want to believe in the power of love. Do you believe in the power of love? Isn't it a Madonna song? I'm talking. No, I'm thinking of Rescue Me. That's what. Your love is giving me hope, bitch. So that's what I'm trying to think in regards to this song. Like I want to believe in the power of love. So I won't say it's a publicity stunt, but I did watch that full interview, and I would give my overall thoughts. The one with Carlos King, where he hinted that he's in a relationship, but now that TMZ knows the asses without with their cameras, it's official tissue. But I can't wait to get to that story because I got a lot to say. And you said, yes, she is. Henny. I think it will be out on streaming by Thursday night, midnight. Yeah, midnight will be out. But I apparently I'm a masochist. I think I'm gonna torture myself a little longer, and I want to wake up in the morning and have my breakfast and everything, and then just sit and listen to the album, have a full reaction, and then just give my overall thoughts and the thing. I would love to just like spend a moment just listen to the album with the transitions and all other stuff by myself. But I want to give a real genuine reaction to the record. And I feel like if I listen to it by myself the first time and then I listen to it and do a reaction, it's not going to come across as genuine. And y'all going to think I'm bullshitting. And it's hard for me to try to fake a reaction. So I'm going to just, you know, I may have to be rewinding a couple of times to certain pieces. He said, but y'all will probably have heard the album already. So the transition's already added. So yeah, a lot of people heard it and then said, nope, can't play it now. Oh, because they don't want to hear the transitions. They want to wait till the full album so you can get the transitions and everything all together. Child, you and me both. I'm so bored with Janet. I was thinking about this last night. I don't have a number one favorite artist anymore. If someone were to ask me who my favorite artist is, I wouldn't say Janet or anybody. I feel the same way. I don't have a favorite artist. Yes, I love Madonna and those other stuff, but I have other artists that I like too. And I feel like it's just based on my mood and the moment that I'm in. And I feel like the moment I'm in right now is just this is the Madonna era. And it's just taking me back to a time when you had artists that took the time to build up their momentum to get to a certain era or to get like when the whole album rollout. People don't be doing that no more. Y'all just drop shit on social media. We see a couple of interviews and that's it. So that's what I'm actually looking forward to in regards to this. So it's just taking me back to a time I was like, yeah, I remember when, record labels actually took the time to really invest in their artists and create a whole moment and all this other stuff. And I'm sure like once the moment dies down with Madonna, I done moved on to the next thing, which would be Adam Lambert next week. And then whatever other artists come out. Oh, you said Lord is on the, I didn't even know she was on a label. I thought she was doing sort of like she was independent. I like Earth Eater. First of all, doesn't Earth Eater have a new album coming out this week or this month? Because I saw that and she's pregnant on the cover, the album cover. I loved Janet when I was growing up, but y'all already know underscores. That's who I'm like obsessed with right now. I can't stop listening to that damn album. I loved Janet when I was growing up, but she's never evolved with her performances. She has done the same choreo. But I'm not the only one that says it. Like you said, that's why I love Madonna because she always does different things. Exactly. And, some people, and this is why they say some people, I guess that's why Carlos King came with his conclusion. We don't need no icons to come out with new music. Just perform no, child. I'm just not some walking jukebox. I'm not some greatest hits act that just gets up there and just performs the same 20 songs that were number one hits for you for 4 decades. Like, no, I'm always wanting to try something new, evolve. I got something new to say. And maybe that's what it is. Maybe Janet is just so caught up in being like this icon that she doesn't really have nothing to say creatively anymore. And so that's what you want to get up there and do. and perform the same choreography to Rhythm Nation. And if grabbing crotches in at 60, if she want to keep doing that, go in and let have. I'm not going to judge. I just say give us something give us a little remix every now and again. Janet just performed in Japan the same day. And they was talking about she was, yeah, that's why I said, Now, would I ever go see Janet live? Yes, because I've never experienced it. Mariah, no, because I already know Mariah ain't giving me she ain't never gonna give y'all money's worth. She'll take your money, but you ain't never gonna get your money's worth watching her stiff ass up on some damn stage. Lola did a video that was similar to Madonna's Frozen, except she was in a forest instead of a desert. It'll probably won't be able to sleep. Probably not. Oh yeah, because what? Anxiety. Because it's like, yeah, I got the Hillary Duff concert, and you got the I saw that somebody made a knitted version of knitted Lizzie McGuire doll, and Hillary spotted it and somebody threw it to her. I don't know who knitted it, but she seemed real appreciative. He said, I would listen to Confessions 1 before Confessions 2 to evoke the full experience. Come on, Confessions Fantasy. Okay, well, yeah. I knew Earth Eater was coming out with a new album. I ain't bugging. You said Janet's last album was 2015. Them. And that's fine. But if you want to put out a single every now and again, and you remember how obsessed yes, I do. Now you're like, I'm over her. But anyway, now that we got through all that commentary, let's get into our first topic before I hit my banner. All right, so now let's get into our first topic, y'all. Which is, let's talk about the fact that it looks like Supergirl is going to just see yet another downfall. So I guess we could just put her in the Kaya Asylum. What is the movie version of the Kaya Asylum? Movie that bombed so bad that you ain't gonna see a sequel probably for another 20 years. But it's going up there with Mandalorian, Grogu, and Masters of the Universe that y'all don't give a good goddamn about this movie. The movie wasn't bad, as I've said before. It is watchable. It's just, it has a lot of issues, but it just seemed like y'all also squeeze it in between some movies that have a bigger audience. People love Minions. And the monsters they talking about, isn't that based off of a different IP or something? Or is it different monsters? I don't know, because I watched the trailer and there was some funny bits in there, but I don't know if it like, I'm thinking Monsters Inc. Unless it's like some different monsters or whatever that's going up in there. But I've seen little things online, especially like at the movies, they have like this Minions advertisements that they've been throwing in, but not really giving me a full trailer. So I haven't seen a trailer for Minions and Monsters, but for the little clips that I've seen, I did laugh. And the Minions is funny. I don't even know what language they speaking, but they do make me cackle. And I think the worst part about all this is that they decided to squeeze this damn Supergirl movie in between two big tentpole situations that have already a built-in fan base, which is you had Toy Story 5, which everybody loved. Well, I won't say everybody, but most people love Toy Story. And then you have Minions, and then you stick this in between, and then we got not Oppenheimer. What's that hell? The hell that damn movie with the Helen of Troy? Odyssey. I'm looking forward to seeing that with Christopher Nolan. So we got a lot of big movies coming out. So Supergirl, you in danger, girl. Or you, well, quiet as it's kept. You was in danger long before the movie came out, but you really in danger. So according to Variety, they said Minions and Monsters will leave the box office over the July 4th weekend with the 7th installment. Well, damn, that's a 7th installment? I forgot they from the Despicable Me franchise. So yeah, the 7th installment in Universal and Illumination's Despicable Me franchise, aiming for $80 million from 4,000 North American theaters during the 5-day holiday frame. Exhibitors and rival studios are mixed on where Minions will end up, with projections ranging from $60 million to $90 million. Now, box office watchers anticipate that attendance across the movie theater business might be slower than the typical holiday weekend, since July 4th lands on a Saturday. Instead of going to cinemas during the busiest day of the week for movie going, Americans will likely be attending barbecues and setting off fireworks to celebrate the country's 250th birthday. Now, around the globe, World Cup matches could be another distraction from the big screen. And that's crazy too, that I can't believe that we are, and that's why when people always say we are a relatively young country, we're only 250, well, right now we're 249, but on Saturday, we are literally 250 years old. We're a relatively young country, so we still got a lot of growing to do, maturing to do, and yeah, I don't see a lot of people going to the movies this weekend because usually with July 4th it equates with barbecues. But then if we out here struggling because of this current economy and a lot of people can't afford to go to the stores and start buying meat and shit to be grilling, then maybe the movie theaters will be far more busier than expected. But we'll see. Now, in any case, Minions and Monsters is tracking a soft start in Universal kid-friendly series, which has enjoyed lucrative commercial success around Independence Day. The comedic property, which revolves around mischievous yellow critters and their reformed villain leader, has only grown in popularity since 2010's Despicable Me opened to $56 million. By comparison, the two most recent entries, 2022 spin-off sequel Minions: The Rise of Gru and 2024's Despicable Me 4, launched to 123 million and 122 million respectively over the same 5-day holiday stretch. Universal always gets a jump on the holiday weekend with Despicable Me installments by putting them in theaters on a Wednesday. Well, maybe that's what y'all should have did. Y'all should have put the movie out today instead of tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. Because usually on Thursdays, the movies usually premiere at like 7 p.m. on a Thursday. Maybe I should have did that instead of, a Thursday night. Wednesday would have been perfect. Now, both of those films became juggernauts, with the second Minions earning 940 million globally and the fourth Despicable Me amassing 972 million by the end of their runs. Minions: The Rise of Gru, which holds the record for the biggest opening over 4th of July weekend, benefited from the hashtag Gentle Minions craze, a viral TikTok trend that encouraged teenage moviegoers to see the film while dressed in suits. Now, we also got Young Washington, which is from that Angel Studios, and that Angel Studios is like a conservative. They do a lot of religious movies or whatever the case is, but they're bringing in 15 million, and they said a 15 million to $20 million start. And it tells the story of George Washington before the American Revolutionary War and his presidency. I don't know if I'm going to buy that because of the people that's behind the film. So we already know what type of agenda or what type of propaganda y'all be out here spewing. But people seem to gravitate towards the Angel Studios and whatever shit they putting out. Now, elsewhere at the domestic box office, Disney's Toy Story 5 should bring in $35 to $45 million in its third weekend, while Supergirl is bracing for a 60% decline in ticket sales after debuting at just 37.1 million. That would put revenues at roughly 15 million for the weekend. Toy Story 5 has been the latest win for animated sequels, with $300 million domestically and $585 million worldwide after 12 days in theaters. Meanwhile, Supergirl underscores the challenges facing comic book adaptations, particularly those centered on lesser known heroes, with 37 million in North America and 62 million globally to date. And that's the thing. It's like maybe we need to stop focusing on lesser known heroes, and what they should have been doing is focusing on your big tentpole roles. I know they're probably saying, well, we just did Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, The Flash, and Cyborg, and all these other characters. We already did that with the DCEU, and that's the Snyderverse. Well, yeah, you want to do it again, because with Warner Brothers, you have to focus on your big tentpole superheroes. No shade, but Batman is way more popular than Superman. Like, Superman is cool, but Superman is like Mary Poppins, perfect in every way. So they try to find a way to make him a little bit flawed or whatever the case was. And it was cute for what they did. And they try to do that again with Supergirl. But quiet as it's kept, people don't care about Supergirl like that. And it's no shade. And she got a small demographic of people that give a damn about Supergirl. And then if you were going to cover, and then we got people excited because they said we were going to cover the Woman of Tomorrow graphic novel. But people said that the person who wrote the script pretty much hacked up that damn graphic novel. So everybody who read the graphic novel that saw the movie was disappointed. So y'all need to get back to basics. And it's like, okay, so we got Superman, Man of Tomorrow, that James Gunn is filming. That's supposed to come out next year. Well, you need to get that. You need to fast track that Wonder Woman script. The same person that wrote Supergirl, and this is why I'm worried now. The same person that wrote Supergirl, Anna Nagara, however the hell you say her last name, she's writing the script for Wonder Woman. And we already know, allegedly, the rumor is Adria Arjona, whatever. The lady that's hunching Jason Momoa, she's a good actress. I'm actually looking forward to that action movie that she got coming out in September that was directed by the guy that did The Guest. She's supposed to be in the lead in that film, and it actually looks pretty cool. I can't remember the name of it right off the top of my head, but she definitely can pull off action. She definitely gives the vibe that she could play a Wonder Woman type character. We just need a rock solid script. And if this girl, the same person that wrote Supergirl, is writing this film, I'm thinking y'all gonna have to look at the first draft, have somebody come in, because if she made this other script messy, I can only imagine how she gonna fuck up Wonder Woman. So let her do a little writation, bring somebody in who's a little more experience, because word on the street was this lady didn't really have that much writing experience before she was given this opportunity. And let them do a rewrite on the draft, a second draft, whatever the case is, and then you work on that one. But we need people out here who really know how to write a good, strong script. Y'all can't pull no punches. You need to really hit this ball out of the park, because at this point, I feel like with the DCU and Gunn's universe, you're gonna really have to work hard to gain the trust of your audience. I don't think this is the time that y'all need to find new people to come in and revamp it, because you already tried that. You got to do at least a couple of movies before y'all decide to do a whole reboot. Y'all can't do this again, because now the fandom's gonna be like, well, goddamn, we just got used to whatever it is you're doing. Now y'all gonna bring somebody else in and try to rejudge up the whole. Like, no. You're gonna lose the trust of the fan base, who already is kind of side-eyeing y'all because they're not liking. They didn't even like the idea of what James Gunn was going to do with the thing. So you want to try to prove those people wrong and really show that y'all have some good ideas. And what them good ideas are going to have to be, you can't focus on these little side characters that y'all have going on where you're trying to give them opportunities. We had to, thinking back on James Gunn and Guardians of the Galaxy, it's like we had to wait a while before we got up to that point where you could bring in a lesser known group of superheroes like Guardians of the Galaxy. There was a bunch of MCU movies under the belt over there under Kevin Feige before they took a chance on these lesser known characters. And we lived for what we saw with Guardians of the Galaxy. You can't start out the gate with that. You got to build the trust of the fans that are actually watching your stuff. So it's sad that, unfortunately, this is where Supergirl has faltered, but maybe y'all should have waited to the end of the summer, maybe in August when there's like less movies coming out. You could have put that up against a Jason Statham movie. You probably would have had a better chance. I mean, there's no shade of Jason Statham, because I like Jason Statham. We know what we're going to get when we get a Jason Statham movie. He's up there, stoic, couple of words in a scene, beating people up, and that's the movie. So you could have put this out around the time in August when there's less films, and I think that the fandom would have probably been a little more forgiving, and your movie probably would have made a little more money than what it made this weekend. But this is the wrong time for you to be putting out this damn Supergirl movie. So it's sad that this movie's about to flop, but I still got faith that James Gunn and Peter Safran, all of them over there at the DCU, will get this thing up and running, because I do believe that Clayface maybe will be, even though it's a smaller budgeted movie, will be the film that does gangbusters at the box office, especially since they got it coming out in October. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding the box office? Minions and Monsters, yes, 80 million. It's not too shabby, but it's not great either. But yeah, it's July 4th weekend. They should have released it today, so that way they could have had a bit of more of a chance, because this has been a perfect time. First of all, it's hot as hell in New York. What's the weather? 90 degrees. It's 90 degrees outside of New York. This has been a perfect time if you got a kid and y'all show like, oh, Monsters and Minions in the theater, and then take your kids to go see it, so that way you sitting them on some good ass air conditioner while they drink it, while they got their little candy or slushy or whatever it is that they're getting at the movie theater, and y'all could have made a little coin totter today instead of waiting for the official regular release date to release the movie. So they dropped the ball on that. But it looks like the kids is gonna be ruling the summer, and Supergirl is just gonna continue to just dip, pop, dip, and spin all the way down at the bottom of the box office. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. People are saying Shrek 5 looks bad. Funny enough, I didn't even see the teaser for it. I heard that it was out or whatever the case was, but yeah, I didn't see it. And they were talking about how Mike Myers looked younger than everybody in the whole situation. So yeah, I mean, quiet as it's kept. The last Shrek movie I saw was Shrek 2. Just like Toy Story. The last Toy Story I saw was Toy Story 2. I haven't seen all the other three. Superman is a symbol of Americana in our country. Is, I mean, although I did kind of like some of the political undertones that was in that movie from James Gunn, which I don't think the Ellisons are gonna pretty much like once they take it over. And I just heard the latest story about how they was trying to slither their way out of another partnership. I think it was with Universal. I was like, I didn't even know they was looking at Universal. Shadow Girl said that DC films hit better during the fall. I should probably look that up. I was like, wait, have we ever released? Has all the DC movies come out in the fall? Well, I mean, look, The Batman with Robert Pattinson, I believe, came out in March. Yeah, I remember because I took my roommate at the time to see it in theaters for his birthday. So we went to go see it, and he liked it. And I believe Batman Part 2 is coming out in October. So, and I gotta look at all the other dates for the Zack Snyder verse Superman superhero movies. What days do they come out? Because it's like maybe it is better if they come out in like the spring or the fall and not the summer. They're not really summer blockbusters. They're blockbusters that better off coming based off the tone coming out at different times of the year. But now those times is getting blurred. I feel like people just release the movies at any time and they do well. So it all depends. But anyway, let's get into our next topic. And let's talk about Zendaya. So word on the street is that Zendaya is being eyed to take over the Jason Bourne franchise, or the Bourne franchise, I should say. And I'm sure there's going to be people that are going to be upset overhearing this news. But if this turns out to be true, and Jeff Snyder is actually he revealed this on open mic. Wait, is that what the show was called? Open mic with John Roca. Child, there's so many damn shows that man has. I can't keep up with all the titles. But anyway, so yeah, he revealed that on the show, and hearing this, I'm not mad about it. But of course, some people go, well, he's a white Jason Bourne is a white man, and I'm like, look, if watching these films, the person's race has never been the central point of the character, I don't understand why somebody else can't come in and play an amnesiac in that universe who just so happens to also be a spy. And if people are going to say that Zendaya is not convincing enough to be an action star, I call bullshit, because she got the same physical frame as someone like Zoe Saldana. They both, fair-skinned, skinny, and definitely Zendaya can bulk up a little bit in the arms. I'm not saying she need to look like she need to be shaped like Gina Carano, big back ass. I'm saying that she could still come up in here and do stuff, and it works. Because if you've seen her in any of the Dune films, she does physical action, killing people, beating people. Like, you see that in the film. So if she could pull off action in Dune 2 and the upcoming third one, then I don't know how people will have a hard time trying to buy Zendaya playing a spy. And there was a rumor that I believe that Jeff Snyder said, yeah, they've been hearing something that she was playing a spy, whatever the case is, and he think this is it. So anyway, let's get into the story. So Jeff Snyder claims that Zendaya could become the new lead of the Bourne franchise, potentially succeeding Matt Damon. Now, on his website, The Insider, the scooper mentioned that Zendaya is ready to stop playing second fiddle in giant studio blockbusters. Per Snyder, the Bourne series may witness a major reboot going forward. Now, a few days earlier, The Insider had mentioned that Zendaya was reportedly being considered for an upcoming action film. This week, his sources told him that Zendaya reportedly had discussions on replacing Matt Damon, who has previously played the protagonist, Jason Bourne, in 4 films as the lead of Universal's Bourne series. However, Universal is denying that there's any truth to the report. Now, additionally, Snyder revealed that the rebooted Bourne movie would mainly focus on a female amnesiac spy. So far, Damon has played the lead character, as we said, in 4 movies between 2002 and 2016. He wasn't present in 2012's The Bourne Legacy because Jeremy Renner played that role. And I know some people didn't like that movie. I didn't mind it. But Jeremy Renner was good as an action star. I just think that maybe y'all should have just came up and had him do his own thing. Now, and that was the Bourne Ultimate. And then they said, notably, 2007's The Bourne Ultimatum remains the franchise's highest grossing entry. It made over 440 million worldwide on a budget of 130 million. The last film featuring Damon as Bourne was 2016's Jason Bourne, and it's the second highest grossing movie in the billion-dollar franchise. This installment made over 415 million globally against a budget of 120 million. Now, as for Zendaya, she got a big lineup of anticipated movies in 2026. She has Spider-Man Brand New Day, and she has The Odyssey, all coming out in this month, July. And then she's also going to be in Dune 3 with Timothée Chalamet. And she was also in the drama with Robert Pattinson, which did very well at the box office. So here's the thing. I also think that with Zendaya, she is a box office draw. She comes out with a lot of movies. I feel like black girls and white girls alike like her. So she is easily accessible, or an easier pill to swallow, I would say. I know it sounds crazy enough to say this with white people and racism, but the fact is that because I guess she is a light-skinned black girl, that she can draw some butts in seats. And I wish that it wasn't, we didn't have to say it, or I had to say it and put it in that context, but it's the reality. And y'all know I ain't gonna bullshit y'all. So seeing Zendaya in an action role, even if it isn't Bourne, just having her play like a spy who happens to lose her memory, maybe they'll call it the Bourne Chronicles or something or another. And or who knows, maybe she'll be the daughter of Jason Bourne. I mean, look, quiet as it's kept. Matt Damon is in his 50s. He's believable. It's believable that he could be in his 50s with a 20-some-year-old daughter. I mean, yes, Zendaya is like, I believe, about to be 30 or whatever, but she looks younger. You know, it's the melanin. So she could play somebody who's in like her early 20s, who's a spy. Or maybe if they ever decided to remake Hannah, I could definitely see her in that. Quiet as it's kept, I've always said that I would love to see Zendaya play Nakia from Kill Bill, the little girl that saw her mother Vanita Green get murdered by the bride. I've always said that I would love to see Zendaya play the daughter of Vivica. I almost forgot the damn lady name. Vivica Fox character in that damn movie. Well, why couldn't she play? I said she could play her, and then you could bring Maya Hawke, who is Uma Thurman's real life daughter. She could play BB. So you have them two up in there going head to head. After, you know, you could have a situation where Zendaya's character kills off the bride, and it kind of starts this spiral of, this is not the world that BB wanted to be a part of, but now that her mother's dead, she got to seek revenge and all this other stuff. Or maybe she's coming after her. Maybe you could say Nakia is a part of this underworld, like of some. Look, I'm just throwing ideas out there. She could be like some girl that's running an underworld type situation, similar to Oren Ishii, and it can kind of have like this blaxploitation vibe going on with that whole situation. And then, you know, even though BB can fight because her mother trained her and all this other stuff, she never had to enact any of those skills until her life's been taken. And then it kind of reignites this thing where she gets to seek revenge. So it's like that whole downward spiral, cyclical type situation. So I would love to see that happen, like a Kill Bill 3 with Zendaya in it as Nakia. But if they decide to go with a whole Jason Bourne thing, if you want to create something in the Jason Bourne universe and give it a girl lead, yes, you're going to have your corny ass incel trolls. We're gonna, they picked a girl. Then Jason Bourne is supposed to be a man. He's white. Like, they're gonna start that shit. Of course you'll hear it, but we can't sit up here and worry about a bunch of goddamn incels who's always gonna find a reason to just complain about shit on social media. Do what y'all need to do, but at least make the script good and make it irresistible enough that people ain't got no choice but to come in and watch this movie, and it shuts them up. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Would you like to see someone like a Zendaya take over the Bourne franchise, or just in an action movie, altogether? Whatever your thoughts are, because I would say I would like to see her as a spy of some sort. And if she's not going to be in a Bourne thing, then come up with something else. But anyway, whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Since day one, do they even dress like their favorite pop stars these days? So she knows how to play deeply complex characters, which is quite prevalent in a lot of superhero films with anti-heroes. I'm scared that folks might get Gen Z fatigue because she's in a lot of stuff. Well, yeah, I do think that y'all need to open it up to giving other people a chance to appear in other projects instead of just always going at Zendaya. But that's Hollywood for you. They will run an artist into the ground. That is what they do. If they see there's somebody out there making money and making a profit, they will find a way to use that person, like run them into the ground. All right, y'all. So now, let's see, what I should have did was this. I should have did the Jacob Elordi story and put that before, because that would have been a good flow, but it is what it is. So let's get to our next topic. And let's talk about the DC. So apparently, we were just talking about earlier that maybe the problem with the current DCU, is the fact that they're focusing way too much on these B characters rather than getting these big major characters out there, getting out your starters. Basketball talk. When you get your you don't play Shamit and Tyler Kolek and all of them first. What you do is you get Jalen Brunson, you get Josh Hart, you get OG Anunoby, you get Mikal Bridges, you get your Carl Anthony Towns, you get them out there first. And then when you want to rest them up, then you bring out Deuce McBride, and then you bring out Shamit, and then you bring out all the other, the B team. Although I do like Deuce McBride. He's not necessarily B. He's in like the cusp. But anyway, so they keep giving us Supergirl. They're giving us all these little side characters. And I'm like, we don't want them to leave. Where is the Batman? Where is Batman? Where is Wonder Woman? Where is the Flash? Where are these characters? Y'all don't have a big roster of, A-listers. Kind of like when you look at MCU, they have a bigger roster of A-lister type superheroes versus DC. So now they're talking about that they're trying to fast track, allegedly, this damn Bane and Deathstroke joint film, which it was announced a couple of months ago, I believe in like March, that we will be getting a Bane and Deathstroke movie. Now, I like Bane and I like Deathstroke, but why are these two in a movie together? Your guess is as good as mine. Because I actually wanted to see Deathstroke in the Batman movie that Ben Affleck wrote the script for, and I believe he was supposed to direct. That was the one. That's the one. Deathstroke movie that I want to see, but we're never going to get it. In the words of En Vogue. So, without further ado, DC Studios has been busy as late, as you know, with the recent release of Supergirl and the upcoming release of the Superman sequel titled Man of Tomorrow. It was originally founded in 2016 as DC Films to manage the DC Extended Universe and was rebranded recently in 2022 under the new leadership of co-CEOs James Gunn and Peter Safran. Now with the rebranding, fan favorite heroes are getting a whole new look as well as the villains. The Wrap has reported that Captain America Brave New World. That wasn't a good movie. Captain America Brave New World writer Matthew Orton has been tapped to write a Bane and Deathstroke movie for DC Studios, according to an insider. No director has been announced for the movie as of yet. Deathstroke was originally written as a one-off villain for the Teen Titans, but has since become a frequent addition. Bane's last live-action appearance, as y'all know, was in The Dark Knight Rises, where Tom Hardy played him, and that came out in 2012. Now, it was reported earlier this year that Greg Mottola, who helmed episodes of Peacemaker, is one of the main contenders to direct the untitled Deathstroke and Bane spin-off movie. News of this Batman villain movie first came in 2024, and now the latest news indicates the movie is indeed going ahead as planned with Orton on board. Now, Deathstroke, as you may or may not know, was created in 1980 by Marv Wolfman and George Perez for the new Teen Titans #2. As previously stated, he was initially created as a one-off appearance, but due to popularity and fan appreciation, he has since transcended his comic book origins to become a massive, well-known supervillain in the DC universe. His powers include superhuman strength, agility, stamina, accelerated healing, and an enhanced brain. Now, Deathstroke slash Slade Wilson was first made into live action for season 10 of Smallville, the TV show, with Michael Hogan playing the villain. He's also appeared on the CW's Arrow, Justice League, and and HBO Max's Titans. He also appeared in a small, what was it, like a post-credit scene? Joe Manganiello played him, as you see in the picture, in I believe was it Batman v Superman? I can't remember. It was one of them damn Snyderverse DC universe situations. But he appeared in a post credits. I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was Batman v Superman. Or it might have been Justice League. Don't quote me on it, but you can put it in the comments if you actually remember. But yeah, so while I would love to see Bane on the big screen again, and I want to see Deathstroke in some sort of way, I don't know if I want to see these two in a movie together, but this is the latest, and they're talking about they're fast tracking it, but I think I've said it until I'm blue in the face already. I really feel that y'all need to focus. I mean, Clayface, yeah, it's a smaller budgeted movie. Not many people are familiar with Clayface. They decided Mike Flanagan was smart to make Clayface into a horror film. And that's sort of like what I love about that approach, because MCU was kind of doing that. Like, it's a super, like, okay, for example, when you look at Captain America Civil War, or the other one, what was the one that came before that, where George St. Pierre was in it? When the second, I'll say the second one, the second Captain America, because the first one was like a little origin story. It took place in the 30s. It was like, it was cute or whatever. But when we got to the sequel, where they brought him into modern day and they shaped it to be like this, and it was going against Hydra and all that other stuff, they shaped that film to be sort of an espionage thriller, like a 70s. It felt like very much a 70s espionage, of the 3 Days of the Condor. Like, it had that kind of vibe going for it, which I actually love. Speaking of which, that probably was the nod that they had. Oh my god, what the hell is his name? The guy, he actually was in 3 Days of the Condor. Why they had him in there? So now we'll have to look it up. I don't know why I can't remember his name. Robert Redford. Why could I not remember Robert Redford's freaking name? But anyway, so yeah, that was like, yeah, that makes sense of why they would put him in it, because it was a nod to that film in so many ways, and like the tone and the vibe and some of the espionage stuff that was in there. But and the Cloak and Dagger stuff. So that, when you look at that film, that's an espionage thriller. When you look at something like Black Panther, um, there's politics in it, but it's also talking about like rich African history and all that stuff. So there's like all different types of vibes that you get with, and tones that you get with these movies. And I feel like that's what they're doing with Clayface. It's a comic book movie, but it's also a horror film, and it's a smaller budget, so you can do like little one-offs here and there. But you're trying to set up your situation. Why are we doing these little one-off things? You should be trying to set up the DCU. And so far, Superman was all right. It was much better than I expected, but it's all right. Seen it twice. I haven't felt the need to want to go rush and watch it again. And Supergirl, it's entertaining. There's moments, but it's a forgettable film. So y'all really have to step it up with that whole situation. So while I like the idea, okay, I just want to see what y'all come up with when it comes to this movie. I just do not see a film like Deathstroke and Bane being, I just don't see it as a top priority film that y'all should be making. But that's just me. But we'll y'all see. depending on the box office, whenever that film comes out, but this actually turns out to be true. So anyway, I asked all of you all, what do you guys think of this story? Whatever your thought, I mean, do we need at this point, with everything happening with the DCU and they still having to really prove themselves and work a lot harder amongst the fandom to get people to show up in the theater? Is this a film that the DCU fandom needs right now? So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Did you hear about the racist movie stuff? Cheryl, don't even get me started on that bullshit. First of all, I have always said Uwe Boll is one of the worst filmmakers in the history of movies. I don't know how that man gets money to make a movie. All of his movies is terrible. It all started with House of the Dead. If y'all ever saw that film is so unwatchable, but all of his movies is unwatchable. And it's like Armie Hammer's character is going after migrants, and he's in the same boat, in my opinion, as what the hell is his name? Jonathan Majors. If y'all trying to make a comeback somewhere in Hollywood, it ain't gonna happen. Because the choices that y'all are making, like Armie Hammer working with Ben Shapiro and them to make that horrible ass movie he got coming out, and then you got Armie Hammer making this horrible ass movie with Uwe Boll of all people. No. And if you ever seen his Blood Rain films, those were terrible too. So yeah, Elon went and showed he went and posted the movie up on Twitter for y'all to watch. But of course, they're doing all of this because it's controversial. It's gonna get people, riled up. It's gonna get curious people to want to watch it. And so that's why they're doing this. And it's just harder to make. But I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, there have been, because of what Elon did and everything, there are some distributors that are picking up this film. I'm like, you can pick up whatever you want to pick up, but people ain't gonna go watch it, or maybe they'll bootleg it. So I think out of curiosity, people will watch it, but we already know it's gonna be terrible, or it is terrible, because if anybody, whenever you see Uwe Boll's name on anything, run for the hills. That man couldn't direct his way out of film school if he actually went. Like, he would have got F's on all his shit if I was his, if any kind of professor with some sense would have seen his finished products. It's like, who died and gave you the ability to make a movie? You are just not good at this. But he keeps getting incentives to make movies, which baffles the hell out of me. But anyway, let's move on. And let's get into some 007 news. So, they're still trying to figure out who's going to be our new James Bond. It's been a minute. I know that's probably not Denis Villeneuve's top priority right now, because he is locked in and focused on getting Dune 3 ready to be released later this year. But he is going to be directing the next Bond film. I don't even know if there's a script ready. We don't know anything. But what we do know is there's been a lot of speculation on who could be playing Mr. Shaken Not Stirred. And so names like Callum Turner and Harris Dickinson and Jacob Elordi have been flung around. And I know everybody's been having their opinions, including myself, on whether or not these are good ideas, on, yay or nay on some of these names. We've even heard Aaron Taylor Johnson, which I'm actually looking forward to seeing him in that werewolf movie. That trailer looked crazy, but it looked typically like a Robert Eggers film, the whole tone and everything. But that movie looks creepy. I'm hoping it's way better than Nosferatu, because I hated that freaking movie. I was so bored. If you want to find a way to go to sleep, put that shit on if you having problems going to sleep. Nosferatu. But anyway, so we've been having our little discourses on who we think would be a yay or a nay in regards to the whole James Bond thing. Well, a former casting director who the last person she casted the whole Bond franchise was Daniel Craig. She said that she don't think it'd be a smart idea to hire someone like Jacob Elordi, who to me looked like the size of Groot. It's like, no, we don't need Frankenstein, even though he was a fine Frankenstein. But we don't need Frankenstein, tall ass, playing some damn James Bond. He gonna stand out when he trying to blend in. So Yeah, so the casting director says it's not a good idea. Her name is Debbie McWilliams, so shout out to her. Now, it seems like everyone has an opinion, as we said, who should be the next James Bond. Now, for 40 years, Debbie McWilliams was the casting director for the Bond franchise, having hired Timothy Dalton, Pierce Brosnan, and Daniel Craig. While McWilliams retired after the last film, 2021's No Time to Die, she does have a suggestion for her replacement. She said, stay away from established stars like Jacob Elordi and Callum Turner, aka Mr. Dula Pete. She said, I don't want to see any of them as James Bond because we now know so much about them. This is what she told The Independent, adding that Craig's successor should be somebody who is completely out of the blue. Now, the next Bond film will be a completely new era for the series. Amazon MGM Studios has taken over creative control, and they've brought in writer Stephen Knight, who wrote Peaky Blinders, casting director Nina Gold, who cast Game of Thrones, producer Amy Pascal, who is behind Spider-Man Homecoming, and David Heyman from Barbie, and director Denis Villeneuve. So far, all these people y'all named, this is good, because first of all, Peaky Blinders, if you never watched that show, and I think they had a movie too. Peaky Blinders is pretty good. So I can only imagine like the script is probably going to be good too. And I like the idea that y'all hiring somebody who's a TV writer and you're getting TV people in this, because quiet as it's kept, a lot of the script writers that write TV shows and stuff like Game of Thrones and most recently House of the Dragon, which I am loving this season. The first 2 episodes had me gagged, especially that last one with the beheadings. I gagged over those because I did not see that coming. But when it comes down to this whole situation, I like the people, like the names and everything that they've kind of created this dream team. And I do agree with her where she says, like, no, we don't want no big names. And when y'all say Colin Turner, we know so much about them. I don't really know much about him, except for the fact that he just married Dula Peep twice. Jacob Elordi, I do agree with that. Like, he's everywhere. He's always in stuff. We know he's currently hunching a Jenner. So, and then he recently got tight because some guy wanted to take his picture and put his hand on the small of his bag. He was like, don't touch me, bro. If y'all haven't seen that, it's all over the social media. Apparently, strangers don't be out here touching Jacob Elordi. He gonna get upset. The only one he want to touch him is that tall alleged lesbian that he's dating. Kendall Jenner. But anyway, so I do agree. Maybe go with someone that's an unknown. Who knows? Maybe they'll look at somebody from like Game of Thrones or one of those type of shows and be like, you know what? That's what we want to be our Bond. But whoever y'all pick, I just hope that they have all the things that we want in these type of characters, where you're charismatic. You could definitely look like you can handle yourself in a physical situation. And that's what I liked about Daniel Craig. When you look at all these other actors who jumped in and they all were like suave and very good looking and clean cut and stuff, Daniel Craig gave that, but he also looked like he was a little rough around the edges. Where it's like, oh, he could be sexy, he's very charismatic, but he also looked like, try him and he'll rip your head off. Like, we just need something like that. And especially, I guess, in this current climate, I do feel like our James Bond needs to match the current political climate that we're in, and he needs to blend in. And I just feel like some people don't like when I say this, but I just feel like Jacob Elordi is just too damn tall to be playing some damn James Bond. Nobody wants a 6'4" super spy running around with them long ass legs and them knobby knees trying to chase somebody in a fight sequence. It's like, no. Or trying to catch somebody when you're doing your spy stuff. So no, we need somebody who's got like an average height, attractive, oozes sex appeal, looks like they could bed both men and women. And so that's what we want. Because look, I do feel like your spies need to be able to play both sides, because there's some rich homosexuals out here doing criminal shit too. Look at Peter Thiel. So I'll say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Do you agree with Debbie McWilliams, a well-known casting director who is now retired, saying that, yeah, don't pick some big name that a lot of people could be easily distracted by to play this super spy. You need to pick somebody who can completely get lost in that part. Like, there's very few people that you look at that they get lost in a role and you completely forget that they're on camera as an actor. Like for instance, Hugh Jackman, he could do something, he could play a role and you completely forget that he's on the screen. And I don't think there's many young actors of his magnitude that can get lost in the role. So you got to, I think, start with an unknown or somebody who's on the come up, but just needs that big break. And that's kind of like where Daniel Craig was. We knew him from a couple of movies like Layer Cake, and he was a bunch of other things. And then it was like when he became Bond, that's when the career catapulted. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. And we'll say, well, I say don't go see that movie because that movie's gonna be god awful any damn way. If y'all want to burn brain cells, then go ahead and watch it. But anyway, speaking of burning brain cells, because I think she done burned all of hers. Let's get into Fake Lively, aka Ku Klux Khaleesi, who's still out here trying her foolishness with this damn case. Now, I thought this case was behind us, but this broad is still like this takes the case. She got the unlitigated gall to go and bill Justin Baldoni's people $8 million for them to pay her legal fees. Where they do that at? And didn't even give like a full itinerary. And this is the thing too. Like if you're gonna bill me for my for your legal shit, but you need to be paying that shit out your pocket, or you need to go dip into Ryan Reynolds because he the one with the money. You need to go dip into his stuff and have him pay that $8 million. Why am I paying your attorneys? And if I am going to be paying people, sis, if you're going to send me the foolishness, where is the itinerary of all the things that you was out here doing to put all your stuff together to present that I'm going to be like, okay, so you sending me a bill and I'm going to pay it? Fuck out of here. So anyway, with all that being said, with Lady Overbite, let's get into the tea. So a judge declared earlier this month that Justin Baldoni must pay Blake Lively's legal fees now that the stars of It Ends With Us have dropped their litigation against one another. Now he's getting the bill. And so it's like, yeah, I'll pay the fee. But like I said before, where I need a full itinerary of every I dotted and every T crossed on why am I paying $7,495,526.87. Why am I where's that money coming? I mean, who says I ain't got the money? But I'm saying, like, why am I paying this shit? And they talk about additional costs that are gonna come to $539, $514.01. And saying that she wants Baldoni to pay reasonable attorney fees. Bitch, I'm gonna wipe my ass with them papers like I wipe my ass with your cease and desist. That's what I would tell her. Now, it turns out lawyering is expensive, as the final filings charts, tables, footnotes, exhibits, and appendices, I should say, explaining yes, because they're lawyers, they bill for the time they spend creating and filing, and it's miscellany. Apparently, Baldoni is getting something of a deal since the filing notes all-time billed to Lively reflects 10 and 15% discounts from her legal teams, Wilkie, Farr, and Gallagher, and Manat, Phelps, and Phillips. So she needs 6 damn lawyers to represent her. And they said it seems like the only winners after all this litigation are the lawyers. Well, that's why people always tell y'all don't go to court. Because at the end of the day, while y'all sit up in here doing all this bullshit, the people that win in the end are always the attorneys. Because when they get that bill, I mean, when they done and they send you that bill, you will be spending your time paying them off rather than, you could have settled all this shit from the beginning. But then again, she's the one that took him to court. So now Michael J. Gottlieb, a partner in Wilkie and Farr and Gallagher LLP, disclosed in a declaration that this hourly standard rate was $2,795 as of Q4 2025. But he cut Lively a deal and charged her only $2,187 an hour. The 224 hours of work he performed for Lively, he said, was worth $457,000 in fees. Well, I need you to put out that list of where that 457,000 came from. How y'all came to that number? Gottlieb's declaration goes lawyer by lawyer, listing their rates with a chart at the end showing that the median rate for all lawyers was $1,450 per hour. Now, one member of Wilkie, Farr, and Gallagher LLP added lines to for her time calculating all these numbers, which took 4.3 hours on May 31st, totaling $2,941.20, essentially a bill for a bill. You know what? Lawyers are, Lawyers not only are liars, but they're also scam artists. Now, in the filing, Lively's lawyers say there's a reason for their meticulousness. Before this litigation began, Steve Sarowitz, the billionaire financier of Wayfarer Studios, and Justin Baldoni, threatened that if Blake Lively ever crossed the line, he would use his vast personal fortune to destroy Lively and her husband, comparing his plan to a holy war. The introduction states, after Lively filed a suit alleging sexual harassment and retaliation against Baldoni, he countersued her for $400 million, declaiming defamation, saying, quote, the Wayfarer parties employed scorched earth litigation tactics designed to drain Lively's resources. They could have ended it and offered to reimburse Lively at any time. Having refused to do so, they should be ordered to reimburse Lively for all of the costs, attorney fees, and expenses they improperly forced her to incur. Wait, they forced her the cost, attorney fees, and expenses, but didn't she sue him? Didn't she file the lawsuits? So how they forced her? She started all of this. Make it make sense, but okay. But of course, this is what her people are saying. So you already know whose side they lean on. Now, Reverend Baldoni did not immediately respond to Rolling Stone's request for comment. Now, Lively accused Baldoni, as y'all know, in December of 2024 of harassing her on the set of It Ends With Us and subsequently plotting a smear campaign against her. He even tried to drag Taylor Swift, who's getting married in 2 days. I wonder if Blake is going. I guess we'll find out. Into his countersuit, though his team's efforts to depose the pop star failed, Lively and Baldoni announced they were settling the legal actions in May, saying, quote, we acknowledge the process presented challenges and recognize concerns raised by Ms. Lively deserve to be heard. This is according to Lively and Baldoni. This is what Lively and Baldoni said in a statement. We remain firmly committed to workplace fee of improprieties and unproductive environments. It is our sincere hope that this brings closure and allows all involved to move forward constructively and in peace, including a respectful environment online. So now, Judge Lyman did rule early in June that Baldoni was on the hook for the fees, but my thing is, who's gonna eat the fees? Y'all know that commercial. It was like, okay, so if he gonna eat the fees, bitch, I need I keep saying, I want a breakdown down to the bone marrow of what is it I'm paying for. You just not gonna be like, oh, well, Justin Baldoni is gonna have to pay Blake Lively's legal fees. So therefore, we came to a number of damn near $8 million. I want to see every little thing that your lawyers was doing, which require y'all to come to this number. And then maybe, just maybe, I'll consider paying this $7 million plus that you done sent to me via pigeon. I don't know how they said it. Email, snail mail, stool pigeon. I don't know. However they got it, that's how I feel on that. So I say all this, and if there's any lawyers out there that want to throw in a little situation in the comments, you definitely can, because I ain't gonna sit up in here and act like I'm a lawyer. I play one on TV. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding that? Blake Lively is looking for her, like she's trying to hit Justin Baldoni and Wayfarer Studios up for a damn near $8 million in attorney fees now that he has been required to have to pay her legal bills. Can you pay my bill? Can you pay my telephone bill? Apparently, not only the telephone bill, but all the bills. The bills. So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Do you agree every decade there's a blonde woman that gets a smear campaign starting with Marilyn Monroe, and I believe Marilyn was murdered, and as recent as Princess Diana, Anna Nicole Smith, Taylor Brittany, and now Blake Lively? You think she's being smeared though? You said the only movie I liked Blake in was The Age of Adeline, but that was mostly because of the supporting cast. I couldn't name one movie that I've seen. Well, I've probably seen some stuff with Blake Lively in, but she was never like that girl that I was like, oh, I got to watch a Blake Lively movie. And the story had a good, I mean, I did watch her on Gossip Girl, so I will say that. And the story had a good concept since her character stopped aging. I do remember hearing The Age of Adeline, but I never seen it. Okay, y'all. So now let's get into more legal drama. And let's talk about Chris Brown. So apparently Chris Brown looked like he's gonna have to dance a little hard on that joint tour he got with Usher, because he's been ordered to pay damn near 13 million after that whole dog situation that happened on one of his well, I don't know how many, but I'll say one of his housekeepers apparently was attacked by one of his unruly ass dogs. And I was like, look, that's a sad way for y'all to just sit up here and call Chris Brown a dog. But no, she was bit by an actual dog and not Breezy and them crooked ass teeth he got. So Brown and his company, Black Pyramid LLC, must pay $12.9 million in damages to the housekeeper Maria Avila for negligence, said Michael C. Murphy Jr., a lawyer representing her sister, Patricia Avila. Now, Patricia, who was working with Maria when the attack happened, was awarded $885,000 for emotional distress. Maria's husband, Oscar Olivo, who claimed his wife's injuries affected their marriage, depriving him of the intimacy they had before. Oh, you know, them Spanish boys, you know, they got to get they what? Even when, you know, they horny all the time. Shout out to the Hispanics. That's why I like y'all. Was separately awarded $50,000. Goddamn, y'all all cha-chinged on this whole situation. But Maria is the one that's going to get the biggest payout because she's getting 12.9 million. And then, Usher. Chris had to pay $885,000 to Patricia. Right? Yeah, because Maria was the one that got the 12. Patricia gets $850K, and then the husband gets $50K. Now they said, I should say, shout out to Billboard because they were the first reporter in this story. So now, after more than 5 years of litigating against Chris Breezy, they didn't say that, I did. We are thrilled that we are able to get justice for our client, Patricia. We are so happy for her and her family and everything they went through on that horrible day. It was an honor to represent her. This is what Murphy said in a statement to Rolling Stone. Now, Maria Avila gave emotional testimony at the 2-week trial, breaking down on the witness stand as she described the December 12, 2020 mauling at Brown's home in the Tarzana neighborhood of LA. She said the attack left her with severe injuries to her arm and face, extensive scarring, and post-traumatic stress disorder. She said, I'll never be the same again. This is what she told jurors in the courtroom in Van Nuys, California on June 24th. Testifying in Spanish through an interpreter, Avila described a grueling recovery. She said surgeons harvested skin from her abdomen to graft onto her mangled arm, leaving her in extreme pain and unable to bend at the waist. The lacerations to her face required dozens of stitches. Pandemic restrictions barred her family from visiting during the 5 days in the hospital, forcing her to endure the ordeal alone. So that's probably where the PTSD came from. A mother of 3, Avila told jurors that nerve damage and chronic sensitivity on her left side still make it hard for her to sleep and carry out basic daily tasks. She no longer has the arm strength to scrub floors or wring out a mop. Meanwhile, the attack also left her afraid of all dogs. That fear, combined with her physical limitations, has effectively ended her career as a housekeeper since most of her former clients own dogs. Now, Avila's daughter, Yoselin Espinoza, testified that her mother, recalling the panic call she received from her aunt, Patricia Avila, who had also been working at the house that day and filed her own claim against Brown, saying she was just freaking out, telling me, your mom can't breathe. She's passing out on me. The ambulance is still not here. Chris Brown fled the scene. I did not think she was going to make it. Now, Brown, who's 37, testified as the first witness in the trial. He told jurors he heard the dog. Child, the dog name is Hades. That should have been a damn good giveaway from the beginning. When you got a dog, and I bet you he probably a pit bull. I need to know the maker of the dog, like, because you know the type. Chris Brown is literally a walking black male stereotype. He gives me, like, you try to perpetuate that whole machismo, light skin. I'm hard. Like, I hang out with the niggas, and you know that they try to get that image. Because he throw that word out like it's just a regular word to just be saying. He do say that N-word a lot. And then he looked like that the only type of breed of dog you would want to have around you is a pit bull. It gives that. Like, you literally, like, there's literally people out here walk around being a full-on stereotype and think it's a flex. So yeah, so now as I said that he heard the dog Hades growling outside and rushed downstairs to find Avila face down and motionless on the ground. He told jurors he locked up the dog, called out to his security guard to summon help, and bent down to make sure Avila was breathing. He acknowledged he didn't personally call 911, which is the first thing you should have did if that's your house, because you knew you were going to be held liable at the end of the day. When you are the big celebrity, when I'm working for someone, if somebody was working for me and I was a big celebrity and something happens in my house, I'm going to be held liable for the situation. So, of course, I'm going to call 911. I'm going to stay and make sure you're okay. But clearly, we already know how Chris Brown don't give a fuck about anybody, at least alone women. I mean, he's shown that in his actions many a time, but a lot of y'all are still spread your legs for that community dick. But that's something y'all got to work out with your own personal, whoever you worship, and your therapist, if you can afford one. Now, where was I? Oh, so they said, yeah. So he said he acknowledged he personally didn't call 911, saying he feared a recording would be leaked to the media. That's what you worried about. You worried about not TMZ getting a recording of you calling 911? Who cares? This is somebody's life on the line. You busy worrying about your reputation, which you just made it worse. So now we here talking about it, and now you got to pay out all this extra coin, and which is why I said you're gonna have to tap dance a little harder on that damn tour you got going on with Usher. Which, quiet as it's kept, I've heard people say that Usher is eating him up on his tour. But then again, why are y'all surprised? Usher is a showman. He's been doing this for 20 some odd years. I think maybe longer. Because when did Usher come out? Like 95, 96? So almost, 30, over 30, almost 30 years, I believe. Might be 30 years. So anyway, he also said he never touched Avila, offered her water, brought her a towel, and gave her any comfort beyond telling her help was on the way. Describing Avila's injuries for the jury, the singer pointed to his forehead and traced a finger down his nose and under his eye, said it was cut like severed. I know it's graphic, but you could see skin was kind of raised. You could see the cut and the blood coming out. It was a lot of blood. And if you know your dogs act the way that they act, you should have that damn dog or dogs. You should have all your pets locked up, especially if they ain't got no goddamn training. Now, Brown said he left the property before paramedics arrived because he's a celebrity. But these people coming to your house. He said his manager allegedly suggested it. Well, your manager, you need to fire his ass because now you got to shell out all his damn money. He also, because you shouldn't have left the scene if you was there. He also confirmed he never asked his security to preserve the home surveillance video from the incident. What would have been the problem with you being there and waiting for paramedics to get there with a woman bleeding in your driveway? Why would that be a problem for you as a celebrity? This is what Avila's lawyer, Nancy Dumanian, asked, incredulous. He said, because of how my image is always used, I didn't want a misleading story or like a circus from my status. It's pretty sticky when it comes to that, so me staying out of the way was advised. Well, whoever advised you, they're fucking stupid, and you need to just, I don't know, but you say your manager told you to leave. You need to fire your manager because your manager did not have your best interests at heart. You should have stayed on the scene. Fuck your image. You weren't too much about what people think. But then again, when you've invited situations of negativity in your life, when you've had many of those side situations of you beating up on people, fighting people, doing all kinds of violence to ex-girlfriends, when you've had to have restraining orders and stuff taken out of you. And I ain't just talking about Rihanna. We know the history. We could all look it up. When you've always had these little situations that you put yourself into, this is somebody's life where they're about to die based off of a lot of the blood and the skin being ripped off and all this other stuff, and how your dogs did this thing. Fuck the image. But that's the problem with y'all. Y'all worry too much about y'all images and what the media thinks and all this other stuff. The media is going to sensationalize or do whatever they want regardless. But this is a human being that you paid to clean up your damn house. If your dog went and did something to these people, to this woman, you stick around and you see it through. But you weren't about, I'm going to leave the property. That's like this is no different than a fucking hit and run. You hit somebody with your car, but because you a celebrity, your manager advised you to leave. But then they're going to find out, they're going to trace who the car belongs to and who was behind the wheel. And then you still going to be liable. and you possibly do jail time because of the whole hit and run situation, not because of the dog mauling. But then again, who knows how this would have all turned out had the woman not survived? Like, it's like the lack of critical thinking with a lot of people just sends me. So he says that he didn't flee. Then what do you call it then? You fled. You fled. That was what I was going to say. I was like, you fled. He said he spent a couple of hours driving around and stopped at a gas station before he was advised it was time to return home. When you leave the property where the incident happened and you get in a car and you leave the property, that is the definition of fleeing. No wonder he had to pay all this damn money. Now, Avila testified that she didn't know the large, it was a Caucasian shepherd. Let me look that up. What that looked like. Caucasian shepherd dog. Ooh, that's an ugly dog. Hold on. It's giving like Cujo with rabies. Let me pull this picture. It's a big dog too. Yeah, actually, it's I'll pull it up on the YouTube. Let me show y'all the size of this dog. Y'all gonna gag. I'm like, God damn. The fuck do they feed this thing? And it's known as a wolf killer. So yeah, this big ass thing is what mauled that woman. That's a Caucasian shepherd. That's what attacked Chris Brown's I'm gonna lead this up here just so y'all get an idea of the size of this damn thing. Cause I know some people just be like, okay, it's not so bad. Yeah, okay. Look at the size of that fucking dog. Anyway, so as I said, Avila testified that she didn't know the large Caucasian shepherd, also known as a Central Asian Avcharka, was on the property that day. She told jurors she only saw Brown's two other dogs, small French bulldogs. And you know, the French bulldogs, they cute. They're expensive, but they cute. I actually want one. That's going to be my next dog. And she denied Brown's claims that he warned her not to go outside without an escort because there was a third dog on the property that was not friendly. Well, this is why if you have an unfriendly dog, you need to lock it up. Speaking softly, Avila says she had gone outside to empty a vacuum bag when the attack occurred. That's when she could only recall flashes of the mauling and its aftermath. She told jurors that she had to leave the courtroom during opening statements when graphic photos of her injuries were displayed and that she still hasn't been able to look at them, saying, "It's very hard for me. I can't," she said. Now, with her hands visibly shaking, she rolled up her shirt sleeve and walked to the jury box, turning her gaze to the wall as jurors examined and raised and pitted skin covering much of her forearm. She then removed her glasses and swept back her bangs and revealed a pattern of scars running from beneath her left eye up across her forehead. Now, before trial, Brown admitted negligence under California's dog bite statute in a court filing. He continued to dispute the extent of Avila's injuries and claimed she was partly at fault for going outside alone. Now, Brown's attorney acknowledged during jury selection that Avila was entitled to some damages, but said there was a difference of opinion over the amount. Well, look, now you got to pay her $13 million, sir. So they said and also I should point out that I think I did read the statement from Michael C. Murphy Jr., the attorney of Patricia Avila, because they said that the article was updated yesterday, which was the 30th. Now, special prospective jurors were dismissed early in the selection process after saying they could not be impartial because of Brown's 2009 felony assault conviction involving his then girlfriend Rihanna. The jury previously ruled that history was not relevant to the case, but the prospective jurors brought it up on their own. So there you have it. I don't think I have any more to add because I was adding my commentary in between, me reading the article. But what I do want to know is, what do y'all think of this situation? So, do y'all think this was justified in this whole case? And my thing was, y'all gotta at least use your brain when it comes to how people are treated, or if you got not so friendly dogs on your property and people are coming over, lock them up. I've always had situations, if I got people coming over and I know, like, my dogs for the most part, well, Xena is, and she's not bad. She wasn't bad. She passed away, but she was a Bulldog Shar-Pei mix, so she's friendly. But I know how she get, and I know how Prince get when we get company. So in certain situations, when you got people come over and they're going to be doing work on your place or whatever the case is, I lock them up because I don't want no incident. So common sense clearly ain't so common with him, and this keeps proving to show that y'all be thinking these people out here with money, they smart. Clearly, Chris, it doesn't, the smart G done skipped his ass. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. Whatever your thoughts are on this matter, let me know in the comments down below. Hold on, let me open this thing because I didn't have it open the whole time, where I couldn't go to y'all comments. Hey, Growlies. You know what? Speaking of which, there was this thing I posted on my social media on Facebook of two men hunching outside in broad daylight in Chelsea. And people was in my comments about, oh, that's gotta be AI. I'm like, clearly you're not from New York. You will be surprised. You could walk down the street and see some craziness. And it was like the dude had a black dude had a black jock strap on, was getting his booty hole pummeled. One girl was walking down the street, saw the situation, immediately was like, and it was like, no, it's not AI. There was actual video that I saw of it. I'm like, look, I understand maybe they was hiding Cooter Brown because the gays, the type of drugs y'all be doing, and it's harder than weed. Yet the way y'all be carrying out here, and I understand some of you hoes can't host. Well, look, if y'all want to fornicate, at least find some coins and go up in the cock and get your back blown out. At least you can get fucked in there and nobody will judge you. You just got to pay a little money to get in the building, but Billie Eilish might be in hot water again. She called parents lazy for sending their kids to. Girl, shut the fuck up. Because first of all, I went to regular school. You see how I turned out. I don't agree with homeschooling children. That to me, I feel like that causes isolation. I feel like that kids need to learn to interact and mingle with other peoples. You talking about, is the story true? It is true, and he even admitted it on the stand. They had pictures and everything. And they got every cent. Ethan Klein lost his lawsuit with Denims. He's appealing immediately. The judge said you're not a major business or something. And then entertainment. Yeah, he's just somebody who's just on the internet. Baby, I made it. I made it. Both Matthew and Tina Knowles have. Yeah, I saw that he was on the Outlaws podcast. No shade. Like I'm gonna tell Felix, like I told you. When he put it in the thing. I knew about it because I saw it when it immediately went up, but I just didn't care because it was Matthew Knowles. I did watch the Tina one, but I just didn't care because it was Matthew Knowles. Jesus, I didn't even realize it was that bad. Yeah, he needs to pay up. Exactly. He won't learn. And I'm like, how many times is he going to get caught up in stuff and y'all going to continue to make excuses for him? You literally had you told so-and-so this situation, don't go outside because we got a less friendly dog. You should have locked the dog up. But then, but why he got to lock, and some dumbass will say that in the comments, why he got to lock up a dog? It's his property. Okay, leave the dog out. See what happens. Now, if the dog attacks a person, you're opening yourself up for a lawsuit. So you want to prevent the inevitable from happening. But a lot of people, they don't foreshadow things. They don't see down the road. People only focus on what's in front of them in that moment. I'm like that. I'm like Raven Baxter. Y'all can zoom right into my eye right now. I just literally be going in and just be thinking about the thing that's going to happen 10, 15, 20 minutes from now. I'm not thinking about the moment. I think about down the road. And then when the whole situation happened, he want to go jump in the car and run. And then talk about, I didn't flee. The fuck you call it then? You got in the car after the incident. You didn't call the police because you was worried about, or an ambulance, because you were worried about your reputation. I'm a celebrity because your celebrity dumb. You sit up there and you do Michael Jackson's rejected dance moves and lip sync for 2 fucking hours. And then gonna sit up here and get mad because, I'm a celebrity. But I didn't leave. I just got in the car and drove around. What the fuck you calling them? You was there when the situation happened. You fled. That's the sheer definition of fleeing. Getting in the car and leaving the scene of the crime. I swear people just dumb as a box of rocks. And you said Brian Adams calls for the arrest of Trump in Canada over terrorist threats. Didn't they say? I was reading something where they said let him come to let him go and let him come to Iran so we could deal with him. I saw something like that, but I don't know how true that is. But look, isn't Netanyahu talking about he gonna come to New York? I said, okay, sir, get on that plane and let's see if your 4'9" ass walk on that tarmac at JFK Airport. And we don't do you like Trump did the president of Venezuela. And I dare any of you Zionists to try doing some bombing-ish up in New York. You won't live to tell the tale. Anyway. Child, I was like, I need a segment to make my blood pressure go down a little bit. Don't seem like it's gonna happen with this next segment. Let's talk about Lizzo. So apparently, y'all already know we don't need to go into a whole loop-de-loop about the fact that Lizzo's latest album basically went triple plastic. Nobody bought it. It was like 6,000 copies, whatever the case was. It is a huge flop. She's been banished to the Kaya Asylum, even though she don't like being referred to the whole Kaya Asylum situation. Well, sis, it is what it is. Accept it or don't. But I guess she don't. But whatever. They still got her in the Kaya Asylum. But anyway, so her accusers, the thing that she won't talk about, her accusers who came out and said that she harassed them, whatever the case was, well, they're speaking out on the recent flopation of Lizzo's latest album, rhymes with itch, and said that they never intended to ruin her career with these allegations. So Lizzo's fifth album, Bitch, released earlier this month, last month because it came out in June, received a lukewarm response, making a challenging return to music for the Grammy-winning singer. Many are speculating about the album's underwhelming performance, with some pointing out Lizzo's involvement in an ongoing lawsuit against her former backup dancers. Her primary accusers are speaking out about Lizzo's latest album and how it may have impacted her career. Now, as it is said, the album sold over just 26,000 copies in its first week, along with 2.7 million on-demand streams, with sales plummeting to 650 units the second week. In contrast, her 2022 album Special debuted at number 2 on Billboard 200 with 39,000 copies sold in the first week. While many factors may have contributed to the album's underwhelming performance, many believe it's partly due to Lizzo's ongoing legal battle with her former dancers Noel Rodriguez, Ariana Davis, and Crystal Williams. The three spoke to CNN, saying they have mixed feelings about the trajectory of Lizzo's career. Regardless of their emotions, they claim the intention in filing the lawsuit was not to take down Lizzo. It was never an intention to take down a plus-size woman of color specifically. Or you mean how Lizzo loves to weaponize the fact that she a black woman and she fat? Now, Lizzo's former dancers said it isn't the place to talk about the state of the singer's career. Speaking on behalf of the group, Rodriguez said, "I don't really think it's our place to discuss or even have an opinion on how her career is going at this point, when that wasn't even our reason for filing in the first place." In 2023, Rodriguez, Davis, and Williams filed a lawsuit against Lizzo and her production company, claiming body shaming, sexual harassment, and workplace hostility. The legal battle is still ongoing. Now, Rodriguez added that the lawsuit wasn't a smear campaign against Lizzo. Rather, they want to hold the singer accountable for the values she has built her public image around. He said, "I think if anything, in retrospect, I've actually had some sadness in the fact that it has impacted her career." Well, are people really surprised that this is like the outcome of the situation? Like, if you're going to go and file lawsuits against someone, accusing them of creating a hostile work environment, having them go to a club where women were shooting balls out of their cootie cat, like taking them to a sex club type situation, which is what they said had happened. I believe it was in Amsterdam when they said this went down, or basically body shaming them when Liz was a whole, basically shaped like matron Mama Morton. and creating this crazy hostile work environment. And yeah, you don't have control over the outcome of the situation. But I believe that your legal filings is partially one of the reasons why people don't mess with Lizzo. It's also that the music is just not hitting. The music's not good. I told you I had a friend that listened to the album and he's a Lizzo fan and said, where are the hits? Like there was no memorable songs on the record. I've heard people say the album don't get cooking. Like there's like maybe what is it, like 10 or 11 tracks on it. It don't start getting cooking until like the third to the last track on the record. Like towards the end of the album is when the album really starts to pick up. And my thing is, when it comes to anything, whether it's music, movies, or whatever, you gotta hit the ball out the park in the beginning. I will give you three songs in the of your record. If the 3 songs ain't hitting, I'm out. And when it comes to TV shows or movies, you got 30 minutes to get me going. If I'm not feeling you, if I'm not feeling your movie in the first 30 minutes, I'm out. That's how I felt about the last Ant-Man movie. That movie was horrible. 30 minutes I gave it, but then I left it on as background noise and I went right to work and was working on some topics or whatever for my show, whatever. Had it on as background noise. Same thing with a TV show. You got 3 episodes to get me going. If the 3rd episode don't get, if you're not cooking with gas by episode 3, I'm out. So I at least give you, I'll give you a moment to get me going. And if the shit ain't there, I'm out. You should not be having to get, you should be like keeping your better songs at like track 7. Bitch, ain't nobody got time to be sitting up in here trying to give you the benefit of the doubt. So I gave you 30 minutes, 45 minutes of music time in my ears and waiting for the album to heat up, and you still got me like the gas thing ain't turning on, it ain't working. So now this skillet is just gonna be cold. The oven done broke down, and I can't make me a good old rotisserie. It's like no. So I think there's many factors went into it. I do think it's partially the situation, but for people to ask them like, well, do you think that maybe your lawsuit has something in why people aren't feeling Lizzo? I just think there's so many different factors. This case is ongoing, but also I should say that Lizzo has refused, and I think this is what really pissing people off. She is blaming everybody for the lukewarm success of this album and not taking responsibility for what's going on. This whole damn time I forgot I did not put the comments up. So and I just thought about it. I was like, oh, I forgot to do something. Naz up. But she to me has not taken responsibility. You know what? Yeah. Clearly, I'm gonna go back to the drawing board. People just wasn't feeling what I was putting out there. And that's that. She keeps about his algorithms, all this. Girl, you are a way bigger position than so many other people are. Like for me, I'm if I was putting out music and I'm independent, it might be harder for me to get the algo going because of how the algorithm and stuff runs. You're someone who's one of her albums went diamond. Probably the one that got about damn time in the morning. You got a diamond record. You're an A-lister. You're rich. You're successful in so many other ways with your previous music. But creatively as an artist, you have not evolved. And so she's going on all these shows, all these podcasts, the Swiftologists and all these other ones, and pointing fingers and blaming everybody for her failures except for herself. Just go back to the drawing board, figure out why people ain't feeling me. Maybe go back to the old Lizzo, bring a couple of, that positivity music that you was doing. Your music, I like your positive songs. I like that Baby, I'm ready to be loved. I like that song. I like About Damn Time. I like a lot of the bops that she came out with. Like it was very, and she's singing. She plays the flute. She's positive. She had the hip hop image. I mean, like type of tone or whatever. It's on her music. She needs to go back to that, like the earlier stages of her career, but evolve the sound. She needs to work with some real creatives that can keep her on the right track. It's just, I feel like now because she lost the weight, and it's the same thing I've said many a times with her and Meghan Trainor. Who are y'all as artists? And I think that's what you kind of need to sit in a room with yourself, with a mirror in front of you, and figure out who am I in this day and age as an artist. and incorporate that into the next chapter of what it is that you're doing. So I'm definitely gonna keep a track of this whole situation, meaning the current case or whatever the case is, because they said the case is currently before a California court of appeal, and both parties are awaiting a court date for oral argument. So we just got to wait and see how this whole situation comes down. And she also talked about the lukewarm response to her latest album, admitting she took it to heart, saying that I think that there's like 24 hours of my life where I base my success and my worth on a number. And I think that was soul crushing. Yeah, when you start worrying about algorithms and sales and being number one and all this stuff, you're going to continue to have failures. You can't sit and worry about all the numbers, whatever. All you can do is put out the best work you can and hope that people respond to it or they don't. But you literally out here just making music so that way you can go viral on social media or get a bop to play on the radio. And you can't do that. Either you're an artist or you're someone who just makes algorithm pop or makes music specifically for radio. But you can't do that forever because, ma'am, you on the later side of pushing 40. So you like in your late 30s, so, or mid to late 30s. So they already know the radio already starts to look at y'all as like y'all are being put out the pasture. It's past your time. You're getting old. We got to go for the next young, fresh thing. And so if you're going to continue to try to play up and pander to that and try to hustle the algorithm in the radio, you're going to continue to see your shit diminish. So I want to hear from y'all. Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. No one could pay me to sit through a 1 hour Lizzo interview. Child, I was not listening to that. I was not sitting through that interview with her and the what's his name? The Swiftologist. First of all, his voice alone makes my ears bleed. So I wasn't even listening to her with that voice. So and then having to listen to Lizzo complain for an hour, I'm good. I'll look at the highlights. I'm not sure what Lizzo thought she would gain being interviewed by the Swiftologist. He definitely has a higher IQ than a majority of people in Stan circles, but he himself ranked her as a level 2 Kaya. And that's why I was like, why would you go on his show? He shaded you with that. And sitting to about pop music's in a crisis. No, maybe the type of boring bitches you listen to is currently in a crisis, but pop music is not in a crisis. Pop music is definitely thriving right now. It's just a lot of you bitches that be getting like 240K subscribers or whatever, y'all need to open y'all ears up. I just don't understand how there's people out here, and it's not me just getting all whatever because I don't have a big audience, and that's fine. I don't sit and worry about algorithms and numbers because quiet as it's kept, people who got 250K followers don't even have those same amount of people watching their shit. So those numbers don't really matter to me. But I just don't understand how y'all had these big platforms and y'all be up in here talking like y'all know so much about the pop landscape and music and how things work. And y'all thinking with these basic ass pop stars that y'all listen to and that they'll follow, that is the end all be all. Like you are the gatekeeper of all things of what's going on in pop. There's no crisis in pop. Like I was saying, like maybe it's just the basic bitches you listening to is lacking in the creativity department. But there's a lot of girlies out here who are making great pop music. He also took a photo with Kim Petras, so now I'm thinking that probably. Yeah. Well, I don't know if I'm gonna sit through that because I like Kim Petras, but it's like, I don't want to listen to somebody who sound like a whole woman interviewing, celebrities. And some people, are you femme shaming? No, I'm shaming her. There's a difference. I don't femme shame. Just that one particular one. But anyway, so where we going? Okay. So now let's get into some more hot topics. And let's talk about Kathy Griffin. So Kathy Griffin recently took to her, I think she was on Instagram and revealed that something in regards of Jimmy Fallon. She said, Fallon, what kind of message are we sending here? And can we please save canceling people for the ones who actually deserve it? Watch this week's episode of Kathy Griffin Talk Your Head Off out now on my YouTube channel. So, she has a YouTube channel where she goes on and talks about, I guess, things that have happened in the entertainment industry. And so she went and revealed on her Instagram yesterday, which is Tuesday, and claimed that she's been banned from Jimmy Fallon's Tonight Show, and also slammed him for hosting UFC legend Conor McGregor, who was found liable in an SA case in 2024 and was ordered to pay $257,000 to a woman who accused him of grape. So it's okay for you to have grapists on. And he don't talk politics. He always likes to be that fine line, and that's why I cackle when remember they had the whole Tribeca Film Festival situation where he was supposed to moderate for Madonna, and that whole thing where she revealed the Confessions 2 mini movie, whatever, which was like giving us a taste of the 6 tracks, 6 tracks off the new album with a visual and everything. And he was supposed to moderate it, which I know a lot of the Madonna fans was not feeling. And when they found out that he wasn't coming in a more tolerable homosexual that we all love, Anderson Cooper was coming in doing the moderating, the fans was very much for it, because Anderson's a fan, number one, but he's business first. So he's gonna go in, he's gonna do the moderator thing, he's gonna do the news reporter thing, and he'll fan out a little bit, but he's not gonna sit up there with his head so far up Madonna's ass. He know what she shat out the night before. And that's literally what Jimmy Fallon will give you, which we all find annoying. It's like, you don't always gotta be from a scale of 1 to 10, you gotta be at a 15 with the energy and all that stuff. Like, bring it down to a 4.5. I'm not saying be dull like clavicular, or as I like to call cardiovascular, who can't walk down a runway to save his life and walk the wrong damn way, which was a cackle. But at least put a little effort into what you don't have to be extra. You don't got to be doing like sugarcane on that lip sync episode of RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars, where she did the whole reenactment mockery of the lip sync and she was overdoing it. It's like, sis, you don't need to be doing all that. But nevertheless, here's what Kathy Griffin had to say about that whole situation. We're gonna go over to her Instagram and we're gonna come back, watch this clip. We're gonna come back and talk. Please.
I have not done the Jimmy Fallon show since it was on at 12:30 Eastern and Pacific. So I guess I'm banned from the Fallon show, or inappropriate, or too controversial. I don't even know. When you're banned from a show, and if you guys know me, I'm banned from most of them. You're welcome, America and Indonesia. They don't usually tell you you're banned. They just can't seem to find room for you. So I do like Jimmy Fallon. I've met him a few times. And when I used to do his later show, he was always super nice to me. But I do think it was a bad call for him to have convicted rapist Conor McGregor on what is he, a boxer or like a kickboxer or UFC, United Fighting Champion? I don't even know what that stands for.
Ultimate.
Because it just makes me think of Joe Rogan. And then I get pissed off for those reasons. I think the Fallon folks made a mistake by...
And fun fact, Kathy Griffin and Joe Rogan were on a sitcom together back in the day. That's probably why she said what she said.
Having Conor McGregor on, I think it sends yet another message to women and marginalized folks everywhere that we're not equal and you can do anything to us, and the perpetrators are still going to be out there being glorified. And it kind of reminds me of when Fallon had Trump on and then he petted his hair, or as I call it, a bird's nest. I don't know, that didn't sit well with me. I didn't like when Lorne Michaels had him host SNL, when Trump was running. I believe it was during the campaign. I think it's time we kind of make up our minds about who we're going to cancel and who we're not. Take it from the most canceled celebrity in history. Look it up, as the kids say, do better. Now, I have not done the...
So yeah, I definitely agree with her on that. It's like, if you're gonna go and ban certain people, you need to be consistent in your banations and not just be like, okay, so Jimmy Fallon is somebody who loves to twerk on a fence, where it's like, oh, you don't want to talk politics, but some of your actions speak otherwise. It's like, are you a conservative, or is it that maybe the people behind the scenes over at the Tonight Show are forcing you to have to interview certain people? So, a lot of times people don't have the power that you think they have on these type of shows. So they go up in there and then they just interview whoever. But it's like, yeah, if you're going to ban somebody like Kathy Griffin for whatever godforsaken reason, I don't know if it had to do with the whole Donald Trump head thing, or if it had something to do with the fact that, yeah, at the time, maybe she said or did something controversial during the era when Jay Leno was on, and he had her banned. Because Jay Leno, and I met him one time when I lived in LA, because when I worked out in Century City, he came into my job. So I don't know if it had anything to do with the fact that, yeah, there's certain people that work behind the scenes that are in positions where they're like, oh, I don't want this person back on this show anymore, so they're being banned. But if Jay Leno was gone, that whole situation of the ban nation should have been null and void when his ass left. Now, when you bring somebody else in, then it should be all like, wipe the slate clean. Now he comes in, unless you got the same people that was working under Jay Leno now working for Fallon and want to keep that situation going. So I love the fact that Kathy Griffin comes on and speaks her truth and doesn't even give a damn no more. But what the people were saying. So one said men like Jimmy Fallon are more dangerous than the actual perpetrators because they give them cover and legitimacy. Another person said, but yet he has Conor McGregor on. Okay, makes sense. Another person said Jimmy fell on. Okay, it's a bit minute. Is a phony. His laugh is completely a phrase. I don't watch this guy. He is a huge phony. Well, yeah, he do. It always definitely feel like you overdoing it with the phoniness. I completely agree, Kathy, and that's why I don't watch at Jimmy Fallon. But honestly, I have never found him funny. Another person said, Fallon sold out to keep his job. All I have to say is Conor McGregor. Now, another person said, what worries me is how many women did Jimmy put in danger by presenting Mr. McGregor as somebody who is safe to be around. Women who might have avoided him might now feel it is being alone with him when they should absolutely be terrified of the idea and avoid him at all costs. Another person said, up until he endorsed McGregor, I thought Fallon was one of the Child, I heard stories about Jimmy Fallon, but to protect myself and my job over at MSG, I'm gonna keep it to myself. But nevertheless, I will say, Kathy has a right to feel how she feels, and she has a right to put out, to give her experience however she feels or what her experience is. And maybe this is why, maybe there's some people that like Jimmy Fallon, but for the most part, a lot of people feel that he is a baby rump kisser, in the words of Darla from the Little Rascals reboot movie that I used to obsessively watch back in the day when I was young. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding what Kathy Griffin had to say? I mean, her spilling the truth. I don't know if it'll get her back get her on the Tonight Show. But according to them, they said that Griffin's last appearance on The Tonight Show came in 2013 when Jay Leno was in his third year as host since he returned to the post in 2010 after previously hosting the show from 92 to 2009. The reality star actress and comedian has been exiled from late night altogether. However, she appeared on an episode of Jimmy Kimmel Live, last year, joining forces with another on the most prominent Trump critics from the world of entertainment. Well, you already know what Jimmy Kimmel can't stand Trump, so he's gonna find ways to get up under his craw. That's why he has Rosie O'Donnell coming on as a guest host while he's on his 2-month vacation. So I don't necessarily know what was the reason of the whole situation or why she was banned, but it's fine. I mean, there's so many other places that'll have you. Fuck Jimmy Fallon and his show. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Is it because it's a whole country renaissance? Like I said, YouTube stopped reporting, and it's been proven Apple Music is the #1 streaming service. Spotify is huge, but huge in Europe. Well, I do that's the only one I use anyway. I only use Apple Music, but I'm probably using YouTube Music on Friday when I do my whole Madonna listening review situation. My reaction video of the whole album. My last Swiftologist lashing. He posted a YouTube short today showing girl. Showing off his chest hair. That's why I always call and said, Chad, you with more grease on your lips than the grease I put in a frying pan to fry my chicken. And he said, I'm a supporter of his, but let's leave the makeup for the perfect. Not him out here trying to get full on Bussy Queen drag and looking like a dragoon. And you said it's more pop music friendly, where Apple is friendly towards rap and country. I love Kathy. I watched the show My Life in the D List. I've seen her like, yeah, and I still am pissed at the way Andy Cohen just did her dirty. And she has always been a real ally. She's better off not going on his show. He just kisses everyone's ass. Yeah, that's why I'm like, but I did watch his show the other day because I wanted to see. Well, I did watch it when he had the Knicks on. So I watched that because I was like, I've been watching it. I'm like, God, he's so annoying. Then I watched when he had Slater on and she performed dance. There's been a couple of little clips that I'll get on YouTube that I'll watch. And he had the cast of the Jellicle Ball, or Cats the Jellicle Ball. And I want to see that before it goes. And he was so annoying just by announcing them. But the performance was good though. So and I used to watch her all I used to watch her all on Bravo, the specials. Every time she had a comedy special, she had the most comedy specials on there. Anderson totally ghosted her after the and that's what kind of pissed me off, the whole situation too. A lot of y'all trying to run out here and protect your jobs, but then it took Barry White's four-eyed cunt ass to come up in there and do all the things she was doing for him to all of a sudden be like, I'm leaving. But you was up in there doing whatever you could to protect that CNN job. What happened? Anyway, let's get to another sucker ass. And I ain't talking about sucker ass Smith. I'm talking about Dwayne Johnson. So let's get into her. Because apparently Dwayne, Will Wheaton, who you may know, played Wesley Crusher on Star Trek The Next Generation. He was also in one of my favorite movies, Stand By Me. Yes, there's a loony up in Tokus, but he's been in a bunch of things. I think he still acts. But he recently called out Dwayne Johnson on social media over some comments he's made about, his stance on politics. So the Stand By Me actor called out the Jumanji The Next Level star for declining to publicly comment on his political views. Well, we know he's a Republican. A lot of these brown folks, once y'all get a little coin in y'all pocket, and these white folks that y'all be out here tap dancing for, don't see it for y'all at the end of the day. But y'all all run around here and want to be these fiscal Republicans. And I wouldn't be surprised if he voted for Trump. But anyway, so he said, so disappointing to find out he is such a coward. This is what Wheaton wrote on Threads on Monday. Now, Wheaton is a vocal critic of President Trump and previously campaigned for Kamala Harris during the 2024 presidential election. Now, y'all already know I got my issues with Kamala too, but this is not what this is about. Now, Wheaton's comment came in response to a post by George Takei, that quoted Esquire's recent profile of Johnson. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson recent comments to Esquire about wanting to keep my politics to myself have divided fans, with some calling out his silence. Well, I could have sworn that he's been fairly vocal in the past on his political views. And we know kind of where he leaned. And I think because he was saying little things here and there about his politics is why people kind of turned on him in a way. Because remember, at one point, didn't Dwayne Johnson, now I'm gonna look it up, like what his politics are, if he's actually spoken, because I could have sworn that he's talked about it before. Because he was saying that he wants to distance himself from the negativity, toxicity, and slinging that comes from the political situation. Well, if you're on the right side of politics, which would be a little more progressive, like what Zoran and them are doing, then we could understand like that's your whole situation. Then we would kind of be in your corner on it. But I could have sworn that he's mentioned things but I keep seeing that all these other articles regarding the latest thing have come up that, he wants to stay quiet on his politics. And so he says he did speak at length about why he won't speak at length about politics during his conversation with Esquire last month, after the outlet asked if he intentionally avoids talking about political matters to maximize the audience for his movies. And that's another thing too, because politics is so divisive right now, because we've had the Republican side who have made politics, have weaponized politics to the point that it is now a marketing tool, and a lot of people can make so much money from causing a divide in political ideologies or whatever people believe politically, especially on the conservative side, that if you say anything remotely about that, it's sort of like you become an extremist, especially if you teeter on the side of Trump. So gone are the days, and he does mention in here where it's just like, I wish that we could have, excuse me, a conversation where if you agree to disagree on politics, which once upon a time I loved doing that, I was able to sit around and have a conversation with people about politics and all this other stuff. But when you're talking about MAGA, there's no getting through to those people. There's a whole brick wall that comes up when you're trying to bring actual truth and evidence. There was this, and I always forget his damn name. This kid just did a debate with a bunch of Trump supporters on Jubilee, which is if you really want to rip your hair out the root with how stupid people are, watch a Jubilee debate. You will be surprised at, like, God, are these people really this stupid? The fact that he sat and debated all these women was bringing up Trump's grape allegations, all this, and how they moved the goalposts of all the things. And one woman decided, oh, well, let me deflect and let me bring up trans. I'm like, the trans ain't got shit to do with this. See, y'all using these Republican these faux news talking points to just negate the fact of, and then they want to bring up Joe Biden allegedly stuff, and then they want to bring up Bill Clinton. And it's like, here's the thing with us on the Democratic side. If any of our Democratic politicians did something that was as heinous as what Trump has been accused of, throw their ass in fucking jail. What you thinking? You gonna get a gotcha moment from me? That is like, oh, I'm gonna move the goalposts because I'm on the other side of if I vote Democratic. No, if there's a politician on the Democratic side that has done any of the things that Trump has done, throw their ass in fucking jail. I'm not moving the goalposts for them. They shouldn't be in office. They shouldn't be anywhere around people. You're working in a public situation, dealing with people. You shouldn't be in that position. You should be in fucking prison, castrated. That's what you should be. If you was on the D side, and I ain't talking about dick, I'm talking about Democratic. You should be in jail, dealing with, doing your time for the crime. I'm not gonna sit up here and say something, move the goalpost like them people on that Jubilee situation is. So gone are the days where it's like I can sit and have a genuine conversation with people, and I'm bringing you facts, and I'm trying to make you understand things about the things we should be focusing on: lowering rent prices, property taxes, healthcare, universal healthcare for all. This is what stuff we should be focusing on. A living people surviving on a living wage. What was the state that they just had that just voted against raising the minimum wage to $15, and they all said no on it? And I don't remember if it's an Alabama one, but I said, are y'all this dumb? But y'all sitting up here trying to push this gold thing about this whole goalpost situation about Zohran Mamdani, and the fact that when they say freeze the rent, that means free rent. No, you forgot to add the ZE at the end of that free, because freezing the rent means that if my rent comes out to be $1,200 for a 1-bedroom apartment, that is not going to go up in the next year or two. That is going to stay at $1,200 until what year we in? And it says it's going to start in October. So until like maybe what, 2028, 2029, and then I guess another negotiation or whatever will come in. So that at least gives me the chance that I could pay that $1,200, and then at least I got money left over where I could buy groceries, I could buy all the amenities and things that I need, and still have a little money to just hold over in my account until, for me to play around with if I want to. I work hard for the money that I worked hard on. Why people can't sit and just enjoy the money that they have, that they work hard for? Nobody's saying that we want free shit. So I hate when you got these fearmongers like sucker ass Smith and that receding ass big ass forehead he got and that hairline, and all these other morons that's running around here being simps for the status quo, for the corporations, and pushing this thing. So we're going to talk about the thing of politics, Dwayne. Then let's talk about it. But the fact of the matter is, you probably got all that damn CTE from all that fucking wrestling you've been doing over the years that you can't really come up with a genuine conversation regarding politics and understanding politics. You're probably coming from it from a fiscal standpoint, because once upon a time you was broke, and now you don't want to go back to that because you're one of the most wealthiest action movie stars out right now. So of course you're going to be more fiscally conservative, because I don't get liberal from him. So and said that he doesn't want the politics to distract from his work, which basically means that, yeah, you don't want to divide people to the point that, oh, this is what he believes politically. It's like, it's very much shut up and act. That's basically what he's saying. So he doesn't want that to affect his bottom line and affect his money, because that's all he cares about. And it said politics is omnipresent and it's forever. I don't like it. I hate it at times. I hate the slinging. I hate all the bullshit that comes with it. But once upon a time, you said you wanted to run for president, or you was going to talk about, or you wanted to get into politics. That was something you flirted with. And all this stemmed because of Bruce Springsteen's anti-Trump tour. Well, the recent tour that he did. And I remember with the tour, he was going in. And I was actually gagging over the fact the amount of white people that was standing up in that damn arena, because it was a couple, what was it, like 2-3 nights? Clapping, was living for everything that he was saying. Yeah, there were some people that, well, I didn't come here for this. Well, clearly you don't own the internet, because that's all. He never hid from the fact, Bruce Springsteen never hid from the fact that this was what his show was going to be. He let y'all know what this show was going to be. That was going to be heavily on the politics, which is why he only toured it here and not outside the United States. And said, and who was it? Somebody in the band, I can't remember who it was, said that they had to increase the security for them because of the political situation, and it was probably getting a lot of death threats. So art, music, film, any kind of art you do, a lot of it is political. When people say that you shouldn't add politics to things, look at history. There's a lot of the songs that came out of the 60s, a lot of the rock music and things of that nature, very, very political. When you look at certain movies around certain times, very political. When you look at certain TV shows, it has political stuff in it. When you look at paintings, when you look at sculptures, any kind of art, it's political. So when people say don't put politics in the art that you're doing, where have y'all been? Because it's always coincided. It's always gone hand in hand. But people just ain't out here. They lack critical thinking skills. So I said, when I hear you talk about Springsteen, who I love, and this idea that he's speaking directly to Trump in his concerts, my first thought, as you were telling me that, in my head, I went, okay, then why don't they talk? They should sit down and talk. I don't know where that goes, but I do know that's an important step. Okay, so I don't know if you've actually met Trump or just watched anything about Trump. Trump don't like constructive criticism. So anybody that says anything remotely of kissing his shitty soiled ass is an enemy to him. He don't like any kind of constructive criticism. So anybody coming in and going, and even people in his party can't tell him nothing. He wants to do what he wants to do when he wants to do it, regardless, unless Netanyahu and all the people that really got shit on him come in and be like, no, this is what you got to do, like the bombing in Iran and all other stuff. Oh, you want to stop this now? Oh, let me start allegedly releasing things of you being involved with some young girl or whatever the case is, because Netanyahu got shit on him. There's a lot of people. The man is compromised. So for you to sit up there and say, well, I think they should just sit down and have tea together and crumpets and have a conversation. You really think that somebody could actually sit in a room and have a genuine conversation with Donald Trump? I know you had to really look at yourself like, did that shit really just come out of my mouth as I was saying it? Come on now. You know damn well that's not even possible based off of what we've seen with Donald Trump on social media, whenever he's in the White House, all that tacky ass fake gold, spray painted gold that he has all up in there and all that stuff. There is no having a real conversation with this man, because everything has to be love me, worship me, tell me about my eyes, tell me I don't stink. Like, there's all of that. So when you're dealing with a grade A narcissist and manipulator and a liar, someone who believes in their truth, not the truth, you're not going to be able to sit down and have a conversation with him. You're going to rip out your hair at the root and burn your eyes out with cigarettes before you have a real conversation with Trump's like, you know what, maybe you're right. Maybe I should consider thinking about why, helping the people that actually elected me and having them live a much better life instead of catering to the oligarchs and all the rich folks. while the poor continue to struggle out here. And it's about you love the inflation. Oh my God, my brain hurts even just going through this mess with this man. But anyway, I say all this to say, and lay off the steroids, sir. So, what do y'all think of this story? Whatever y'all thoughts, I feel like I said all I need to say in this situation. Child, I'm hot. Let me turn on my fan. After discussing all that foolishness. So yeah, you know, the politics, it gets me going. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. Let me know what your thoughts are respectfully in the comments, because I will cut you out. You try some bullshit in these comments. And I'm not talking about y'all in here right now. I'm talking about the ones that come on later on when I cut up this segment and post it on the social media as a regular segment. So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. I was like, tread lightly, bitch. He could have just called her to check up on her. He said he publicly supported Biden in 2020, then flip-flopped about regretting his decision to support him. I knew it had to be something. I think Dwayne uses his platform to do great things, but he might have some concern. I truly believe that he leans conservative. Dwayne came up through WWE having a macho, tough demeanor. I predict that he may have some thoughts on police reform, reproductive health care, etc. Did you hear David Port? I saw the video. I think, what was I watching? I think I might have been watching Ebro Laura Rosenberg, and they played a bit. I was like, first of all, his Boston accent is so fucking annoying, and you don't have a rat's chance in hell of ever even going up against Zoran and winning. Zoran is so loved in New York. The centrist Democrats hate it. Hakeem Jeffries and them fucked up teeth he got. Chuck Schumer fat ass showed up at Pride trying to remind me, I marched for y'all back in the day. Don't y'all forget it. Like having to remind people of all his accolades and all the things he did for the homosexuals. It's like, okay, but what the fuck that got to do with the price of tea in China? We talking about now. First of all, you're someone who's a shill for AIPAC. You out here tap dancing for Israel and make no qualms about it. So the people ain't fucking with you, Schumer, and your ass got booed. Whereas Zoran showed up, high-fiving everybody, shaking people's hands, giving hugs, taking selfies, and didn't even have to work as hard. He just showed up. The people showed out. So when you got the charisma of a flea, you basically have to go up out here and showcase your accolade. Who needs to read off their accolades and remind hoes on what they've done? Losers like fucking Schumer. So David Portnoy, you ain't winning New York. We don't want you here. So if you want to go up against him, there was somebody else that said they were, Michael Rappaport, thirsty ass on social media. His loud ass said he was gonna go up again and run against. Go ahead, y'all primary, y'all go and into the primaries 4 years from now and try to run up against Madonna. You're not gonna win. Nobody likes y'all, so stay in your lane. Madonna is making a lot of things happen for a lot of people in New York, and when you're showing how that you're making policies happen, the people will vote for you. Oh, you said I mean, who was the first Kennedy to lose a primary? Oh, a lot of people wasn't voting for him either because he was a Zionist. All right, y'all. So now let's move on to our next topic. And let's talk about Milania Giudice. So more tea is coming out regarding what may have transpired for her getting arrested. And I think the Sun revealed this news and also Page 6. So now per the Montville Police Department, the daughter of Real Housewives of New Jersey star Teresa Giudice was throwing food and candles during a DV dispute, because you know how I use certain words with the algo, at Teresa and Louis Ruelas' New Jersey home. Now, Teresa's other daughter, Gabriella Giudice, who was identified as the reporting party, called 911 just before 6:15 p.m. and said her sister was acting erratically, according to police. The report, which was first obtained by the Sun, also stated that no weapons were involved and no injuries were reported. Milania, who's 20, was placed under arrest with double out handcuffs and charged with one count of simple assault. The Montville Municipal Court records show no plea was entered during her initial appearance on May 19th. However, according to the Montville Daily Voice, she has since pled not guilty. She is due back in court for a hearing on July 14th. Now, though Milania has been posting on social media since her arrest, she broke her silence on the incident Monday via TikTok and said, "It is what it is. Shit happens in life. It is what it is. You got to learn from it and just become a better person and talk about it." And she goes to the University of Tampa, by the way. And this is what she said in a video on, as we said, on TikTok. Now, Milania explained she was not in a good area in her life at the time of the incident. She said that happens. I've been through a lot in life, and some other stuff happened to me. She told her followers, just because you guys think you know everything that happens in my life, you just really don't. She also blasted an allegedly fake mugshot of her circulating online, which she, of course, is AI. There's no way they're releasing her mugshot. I mean, unless it don't believe it unless it comes from TMZ, because you know they stay trying to search for people's mugshots and post it on social media. But whatever she's dealing with or whatever she's going through, I just hope that at this point that maybe she's, you know, not maybe, but I hope she needs to be in therapy. And I don't know if she has insurance to cover it, or, well, I guess at her age, she's still be on her mother's insurance. So, Teresa, you need to get your daughter in some therapy and find out what's wrong with her. Because I remember watching her on The Housewives, and that girl had a lot of energy. She was always fighting her sisters, and all kinds of other drama was going on. And I know that she's dealt with a lot, especially because her parents was in jail. She's probably still got trauma dealing with that. And so many other things that's going on. Her father is he's been deported. He's not even allowed to come into the country. They got to leave America to go see him. I think he lives in the Bahamas. So he was deported to Italy, but they felt like the plane ride would be a little too crazy to leave from where they on the East Coast to get out there. So he moved to the Bahamas so that because it's an easier flight for them to kind of get out there instead of having to, you know, jump around and do all the other stuff. So, whatever it is that's going on in your life, I hope you're working it out. Don't just brush up, oh, it is what it is. It happened. I mean, because that sounds so much like Joe Giudice. Yeah, what are you going to do? Because he used to always say that back in the day when stuff would happen. What are you going to do? It is what it is. It happened. It's like, yeah, that it happened. But if you don't sit and deal with whatever the issue is, then it's just going to keep happening. And then, you know, what they say about the definition of insanity, you know, do the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. So, they said many aspects of the DV case are not publicly available. And, you know, we don't need to know it right now. If some starts to come out, then we'll talk about it. But she said, I ate down in my mugshot. I look fine. I mean, nothing to be proud of, but I made sure of that. She boasted, adding, I can't believe you guys even believe that's real. Well, these days with AI and everything happening, it's getting harder for people to believe what's real and what's not real. I told y'all earlier, I had people in my social media, I posted something where it was like two dudes fucking in public, in broad daylight in Chelsea, and people like, that's got to be AI. That ain't real. I'm like, you will be surprised of the shit I have seen in New York. It is not AI, and plus there was a video that went along with the photo, so there was a lot more evidence to go to the contrary. And I'm not gonna post something that's AI, and I'll tell you if it's AI, but everything ain't AI. And people need to stop thinking everything is AI. So, I know a lot of people's out here thinking that maybe she got into it with Louis, because a lot of people don't like Teresa's new husband, Louis Ruelas, who she married in 2022. So it'll be 4 years in August that they've been married. And her youngest daughter is Audriana, who's 16, who was the one that called, you know. Oh, wait, no, they said Gabriella was the one that called, right? She was 21. So I'll keep you guys abreast of this story as it develops. But in the meantime, I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this shocking story regarding Milania Giudice? A little more tears coming out regarding the whole situation. As I said before, young lady, get the help that you need in this whole situation, because if you don't get the help that you need, it's going to keep resurfacing and bubbling, and then you don't want to actually do some jail time. And it's like, damn, like it's now a generational thing. The parents did jail time. Now you got Milania out of here in jail because she can't keep her hands on herself. So nip it in the bud before it gets any worse than it already has been. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Not off with his head. Get the guillotine. All right, y'all. So let's get into some more gossip. And let's talk about Madonna, who's in the news again because Pride is happening this weekend in London. Also, the album is coming out in 48 hours. Less than 48 hours? More than 48? We'll say 48 hours. We'll just settle on that. In 48 hours, Confessions 2 will be ours to finally enjoy. And if you really want to be specific, on Thursday on what is it? Is iHeart? They're going to be releasing, like, you can listen to it early, but I'm going to just wait until it's officially released. I'm not doing all that sneak peek, whatever, because if the audio ain't right, I'm going to be mad. So I'm going to just wait until I can physically get my hands, well, not physically get my hands, because those are in the mail too, the vinyl and all the variants that I did buy. When that comes in, that'll be when it's in my hands. But the digital aspect of it, when it's released for the public on Friday officially, is when I will literally salivate and everything that is Madonna. But in the meantime, word on the street is Miss Mamas is going to be appearing in London, her second home, for London Pride. So the British homosexuals is going to be getting a little piece of the Queen. So Madonna is reportedly being lined up for a surprise appearance at Pride in London on Saturday, with organizers said to be bracing for an absolute pandemonium if it goes ahead. The 67-year-old superstar is rumored to pop up on the main stage in Trafalgar Square, where London Pride is expected to draw 1.8 million people. An unnamed insider claimed to The Sun that organizers are playing it by ear in case plans change at the last minute, adding, "But as it stands, Madonna is primed to come out on the main stage." Now, the same insider suggested that, and y'all about to be disappointed, so if y'all thinking that y'all about to get what we got in Times Square when she went and performed a couple of the songs off the album and gave us Hung Up and Sorry and I Love New York. No, it was Get Together, wasn't Sorry. And I Love New York. That ain't happening. She ain't giving y'all a middle of Times Square performance out in London. They said basically what y'all gonna get is she about to come out on the main stage. She gonna speak to the crowd and then head out. She's like, "Hey y'all, happy Pride," and then leave. Bitch, I wish. I was like, first of all, if I was just about to pop up on stage and just give y'all a, "Hey y'all," and then like it's like me and doing Britney Spears, "Hey y'all," as if I'm gonna do that and then just be like, "Happy Pride." Y'all gonna be tight because I'm like, that's all you giving. Like, you can't give us a every little thing that you say or do. I'm hung up on you. And you can't give me none of that. A little bit of that, or baby, come again to me. It's something that I gotta do. He said, now the same insider suggested it was okay. So now they said the source added they're expecting absolute pandemonium if they pull it off, but it would be incredible for everyone going to the Pride event in London. Now, Pride in London is set to take place across central London on Saturday, July 4th, with a main stage with a main stage in Trafalgar Square. Acts include Beth Ditto, where's she been, and MNEK are they're going to be performing. And they said the rumored Madonna moment is also being linked to the timing of her new album, Confessions 2, which y'all already know it comes out the day before the event. Now, as y'all do also know, Madonna is a multi-Grammy winning pop artist whose work has shaped modern pop, dance, and club culture since the 80s. She has long been embraced as a queer icon with decades-long association with libidical plus communities, nightlife, and activism around HIV/AIDS awareness. Her 1990s work was culturally controversial and influential in conversations about sexuality and censorship. She is also known for stadium scale live shows and for using performance, fashion, and provocation to drive pop cultural discourse, with a catalog packed with dance floor staples closely tied to Pride and queer club spaces. And you wonder why she is an icon for the gays. I was going to say for the fags. But for the gays, for the homosexuals, But yes, all jokes aside, it'll be cute to see what she actually does. We'll actually see because they're saying so far it's a rumor, and we'll just see. We'll just see how this all turns out. If you know, you know. So I'll say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? My London people, let me know what's gonna happen this weekend once Madonna allegedly comes up and shows up at Pride and gives y'all a little show. I know some people was upset that she didn't perform for New York Pride, but look, New York Pride, we're about to get us, the gay is about to get, it's about to be gay Christmas up in this bitch on Friday morning. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Hold on, I was like, I always forget what his damn thing is. Bob the drag queen posted he was going to be there with her. Okay, and then isn't he also supposed to be doing that whole TikTok situation thing? Or so I guess he did make it official. Shout out to Caldwell Tiddadoo, or whatever the hell you say his last name. He said Billboard said Warner sent them the pre-order estimates is 135K, and they expect an additional 100K in sales through physical purchases. So it's looking between 225,000 and 230,000. So her 10th #1 album is pretty much locked down because a lot of the fans wanted confessions. That's what I thought, that it said that he was doing a TikTok event. But anyway, all right, y'all. So now we down to our final 4 topics of the evening. So before we get to those final 4, if you could please do me a solid, hit that like button, smash the notification bell, hit subscribe if you have not already, hype the channel, anything that can help push this show out further in the algo. Please help a brother out in that situation. Please and thank you. Now, without further ado, let's get into some homosexual news. So I know the children gagged yesterday when they saw this news done circulated that Jussie Smollett Jussie got a man at home. shout out to A-Boy. But yeah, Jussie got him a new man, any man, a black man, and a man who y'all thought wasn't into black men. But yes, Karamo Brown is out here hunching Jussie Smollett. So shout out to y'all. I do have a video that we're gonna get to in a second. Wait, where is it? Is that it? Is that her? No, here she is. So yeah, shout out to Karamo and Jussie, because here's the thing. Okay, so the pictures came out before I even saw the interview. I actually watched the interview that Karamo did with Carlos King this morning. I'm glad I watched it. It was a good interview. If y'all get around to watching it, definitely check it out, because he gets into a assortment of things. He talks about, in addition to the relationship, he is dating a celebrity. He didn't mention who. He did make a joke that it was Wayne Brady, though. And Carlos did kind of have a bit of a cackle, how extra she could be. But he talks about the tumultuous relationship he had with the Queer Eye guys. He also mentions like how he got on The Real World, that it was by accident. It was not intentional, that he was protesting The Real World. I mean, he was protesting MTV at the time before he got cast on the show, and how he even got on Queer Eye. The fact that it was manifestation, it was, hitting this one up, be like, because they already cast the thing before he even got on it. He also talks about what people were saying, Karamo is not here for black men, because y'all seen him out here dating other races. But he explains, he was like, I get why y'all was feeling that way. And I love when black men, particularly black queer men, come up and like, yeah, I acknowledge the fact that I could see why y'all felt the way y'all felt in regard of seeing me out here dating white dudes. But he gave a reason about it. And I totally was like, you know what? I see why. I totally get it. And what he said was, when he went on The Real World, and he was like the first openly gay black man, whatever, and all the things that he was doing on there, you already know like how a lot of the men were going to the clubs, or the cast will go to clubs and this, that, and the other. When he was like, oh, I used to go to tracks back in the day, I used to go to all the gay establishments, and I used to be getting my life up in them places. So then, of course, being on the show and him going on there being open about who he is and being an openly gay black man and trying to uplift the community, when he would go to these places, you have to deal with, at that time, you're dealing with a lot of black men, particularly because of the church and a lot of things that black people are indoctrinated with us hating on being openly queer, that They didn't want him in those spaces. They were asking him not to show up. There were black people that were distancing themselves from Karamo. So while he's out here trying to uplift the community and give a face and a voice for black gay men, those same men didn't want to be around him because they were not ready to come out and live in their truth. So the white clubs and the white establishments were like, hey, come on over here. We like you. We accept you. And what people have to really look at is the nuance of that, where a lot of times when the black establishments don't accept us, but y'all will sit up there, be quick to give money to the blacks that don't even like y'all ass, to these these establishments, like Bussy mad ass somebody, he was giving money to come perform at a gay establishment and turned it down. And then you got Kaya, who has made many a comment about gays and trans. Y'all gave her money to show up at Black Pride, but y'all don't. So the self-hatred within the situation of black queer people is deep. And so them getting into those conversations, it was interesting in regards to that. And so he talks about that. The fact that, so when his own community started to abandon him and it started to affect him with being lonely and being ostracized and his own community not want to mess with him, he had to look to outside races for that comfort. When he was always about dating black men and setting them. So a lot of times we need to look at our own people before we be so and look within the mirror of our own shit before we start running off and trying to paint a picture on, oh, you're a coon, or you're this, or you're that. Maybe have a conversation with these people to have these things. So I'm glad that Carlos King brought that up and brought that to the forefront, because these are conversations, in my opinion, that need to be had. And in addition to all of that, he did open up about his relationship and said he in love and he the one. So it kind of made me wonder, because based on this, remember a couple of weeks ago, it wasn't even that long ago, I told about it on the show, Jussie Smollett broke up with his fiance that he met on the set of the movie that Christmas movie with Vivica Fox that he directed. So, and they said they've been dating a while, so that probably means that maybe Jussie and, I don't know how they met, but Jussie and Karamo probably got in a room together. There was chemistry, sparks flew, and Jussie probably, I don't think, was happy in the relationship that he was with, and found his equal, because Karamo said they don't argue. Like, they're on equal footing about everything. He also said that, and I've been saying this for years, buying home ownership is a scam. It's like, I'm spending more money trying to do repairs on my own house but rent down, and that's what I said. Owning a home is a vanity product. It's like a vanity flex. It's like, oh, I did that. I was able to afford my own place, and having a house is, the whatever. But I will rent till I'm blue in the face. I would rather rent, because if anything goes down in my place, bring. I got this little leakation happening up in here. Can y'all come over and fix this? I ain't got time to be calling no damn plumber to be coming over to fix whatever. I'm calling the super and having them send whoever over to come deal with this situation. Come in, fix what you got to fix, and get out. I don't care. I will rent. I don't need to buy, because I know how I am. I've always lived the life of a nomad, where I will just pick up my shit at any time. Like, when my lease is up, I'm choosing not to renew. I'm gonna find something else, and I'm gonna move somewhere else. Like, I'd rather do that instead of being like, now I gotta find somebody that's gotta buy this house off me, and then they're talking about, oh, the price is ridiculous. I'm stuck with this property. So yes, it's all a scam. Don't believe the hype of home ownership. But I know this was a long-winded thing, but I was just so engulfed and fascinated by this full interview. I think it's like an hour and 40 minutes or something. It might be shorter. I don't know. I'm just thinking off the top of my head. It was a really good interview. Definitely check it out. But in the meantime, before I go, I do want to play y'all a clip of him talking about his relationship, because he was in a relationship with a guy named Jabari Red, and he called up the engagement, and they said in the last couple of weeks, and was saying that so the movie was called The Last Holiday, and it came out in 2024, which he directed, and Miss Ma'am was in it, and then Vivica Fox, and then Karamo was in a relationship with this guy, a white dude by the name of Ian Jordan, and they split in 2020. So maybe since then, Karamo just been out here laying low and spreading wide. And he also said, because he a Scorpio, that he a freak. So Jussie, I hope you be using your butt plugs on a daily basis, because you're gonna have to keep that coochie scratched. So anyway, let's play the clip and we're gonna come back and talk. Please hold.
No, you are dating a black man. And you can tell me when to stop because I'm not gonna reveal his identity. That's your story to tell. He is a celebrity.
I am dating a celebrity.
And I wasn't gagging that you were the black man. I was gagging because of his identity. So after I gagged, and I said this to the both of you guys, I said, oh, bitch, I'm about to break the motherfucking internet. Because you two are such a beautiful couple.
Thanks.
And it makes sense to me. It makes sense to me. He is, I've always said this about him to people. He is a sweetheart. And he and I aren't like the best of friends or anything, but when you are in these spaces, you run into the same people. And what I will always, but no, you are dating a black man. I always say about that man, I would be on the red carpet doing my thing, and he would be like, and I'd be like, hey, he's like, you good? I'm like, I'm great. He's like, tell my friends to say hi because we got mutual friends. And he's always just been a sweetheart.
Yeah.
And I know you have had experiences being unlucky in love.
Yes.
Do you think he's the one?
I know it. I'm 100% sure. I could get emotional. I've met my equal. And it's powerful when you meet someone who you feel 100% safe with, you feel 100% secure with, who you can just trust with your heart because they are just a great human being and they get everything. It's special. It's pretty amazing. And that's the reason why
always say about that man,
we're taking it slow and not taking it slow. We're not taking it slow. We are deep in love, but why we are not publicly yet because we don't want comments. You know what I mean? And so we are protecting the love we have because, I do believe this is going to be my husband. I believe this is going to be my forever person. I feel it every single day. We don't have any arguments. Everything is just easy. And not saying that we don't have discussions, but everything is just easy. We just get each other. It's constant laughter. It's constant love. It's just constant everything.
As much as I do believe that the world deserves representation in all forms, as your friend, I will selfishly say, keep it quiet as long as you can.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, because what I witnessed, I was like,
So yeah, there's that. And then there's this picture of him touching his face and all this other stuff. And I remember I was hearing people say too, like, and they did reference Dana a lot of time, Latifah, in the conversation where it was like, Latifah's never really hidden the fact that she was a lesbian, that whenever she would walk around in different spaces, you would always see her with her girlfriends. She was never really hiding her sexuality and all this other stuff. She was always living in her truth. Although there were times I was like, well, not really. I mean, she may have been doing it like privately, whatever. If you ever saw Latifah out, yes, she was with her girls. But if you were in public and stuff, there would be certain things where she was talking about boyfriends and this, that, and the other. So she was playing that up a little bit. But for the most part, we all knew because, child, I would see her down at the pier with a new girlfriend every damn week and the passenger side of her car. So Latifah was legendary on these streets. And shout out to her. And I love the fact that she keeps her relationship private and she wants y'all to know what she wants y'all to know when she wants you to know it. And I think that they should just keep it with this whole situation with their relationship too. If you want to be out here living your life like it's golden as a couple, and you don't want everybody up in your business, it's like, yeah, we ain't trying to hide it. We be walking down the street, we be going shopping, we buy groceries, whatever. And if y'all wondering, because there were people that would say who the top and who the bottom. First of all, who knows? They might, or people saying they bumping pocketbooks and all that other stuff. Yo, I was reading the comments, but I guess if you really want to know, Karamo does say in the interview that he is the type of guy that wants to pay all the bills, that will open the door for you, that want to take care of his significant other. So that seems to be, if Jussie is okay with that, then that'll be the relationship that they have, that Karamo wants to be the breadwinner. And that might come from the side of him being Caribbean. That it's like, he is the dominant figure in the relationship. And if that's something that he could live with and be like, well, I don't want to be on equal footing, that I got to pay half the bill, whatever, that my man going to, first of all, I didn't have my own fuck you money. Because God forbid anything happen in this relationship, I gotta be able to flee. But then again, maybe there's a way for Jussie to still be out here doing his singing like he was doing. Oh, what was that note that he hit? The other day, I'm trying to see, damn, if I can find that that video. But yeah, so shout out to y'all. Shout out to y'all relationship and things of that nature. I can't find the thing, and it's not that serious anyway. But let's read what some of the homosexuals is saying over in the gay magazine comments. So, hey, do dirty. And I didn't believe Jussie broke up with JR, but I like this. They both understand the assignment. Not just Armo. Jackie Reed said, this makes me happy. Jussie deserves joy. And, a lot of people like bringing up his past convictions. I was like, look, there have been people out here that did 10 times worse, and y'all still don't hold that shit over their head. But anyway, what else might I say? Oh, respectfully, we need to unpack gay men moving on from a serious relationship so fast. You can't possibly be whole if you really was in love. No shade. So a lot of people just feeling like, he moved on to not the both parties are black. Y'all need to get off that shit. With the whole, well, black men should only be with black men. But I do understand why people feel the way that they feel, because of the lack of black male representation in media. And Karamo addresses that. How a lot of times there are plenty of people that are in same sex, same gender loving, black on black, same gender loving relationships, and they don't get represented. So a lot of that has to do with our media too, because they were saying, and Carlos and him addressed it, was like, they purposely don't showcase a lot of black on black gay queer relationships. And it's like, we need to highlight those. We need to show that those relationships exist. So that way we don't have these same little comments being made, oh, look, and they're black, or the accusation that the only way that you as a black gay performer can get any kind of success is if you date someone of the opposite race, that you have to date a white man. And we do see a lot of that too, because I don't like when a lot of you black folks out here, whether you a sissy or you a heterosexual, we all run around here and you decide the only way that you can have any kind of love, success, or accolades is that you got to tear down your own community to uplift white folks. You don't need to do all of that, because now I'm gonna look at you as a damn coon. So a lot of people out here are surprised that I was a drill, but I do understand. It's like, well, did Jussie heal himself before he decided to jump in another relationship? Because you don't want to be the Jennifer Lopez of gay relationships. Somebody said Jussie and Karamo, if everybody want to be the girl, who is going to be the don't do that. Well, some people's like, who doing the bending? Well, I told you who allegedly doing the bending. Then I am the Queen of Shades said, I see you in the last slide. Oh, wait, what was the last slide? The cha-cha slide. Okay. Look how he looking at him. Wait, who it is? Oh, you said they was at the Native Son of what? Yeah, he definitely like that. That pussy is puckering. The way Jussie looking at him longingly, like, ooh, I can't wait for you to tear these guts up. But Karamo, I love you. Them cheeks is distracting. And then of course Carlos King up in here advertising his interview. And they said, so Jussie ain't engaged no more. Another person said, I want to support this. If Jussie, well, they said Jesse, but it's Jussie. If Jussie didn't just get out of engagement, I would believe it. But it seemed like it's a PR stunt on both of them to get media attention. I hope they prove me wrong. Hope they having fun genuinely. Don't mind me. So yeah, everybody's out here, but I thought he was engaged with somebody else. Like, what had happened? Or the fact that some people think it's a PR stunt. And I understand, like, they're talking about that. Well, Karamo said he wants to protect his relationship. He didn't want to make a big deal out of it because people are going to come out here and make their comments. But regardless of whether or not we knew about it or whatever, people was going to say and feel how they was going to feel. And it is what it is. Don't let that define your relationship. But we'll just have to see how long this lasts. and if it is a real relationship and not a publicity stunt, as some people believe. But anyway, I want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story? Do you believe in this relationship between Karamo Brown and Jussie Smollett? And can you see them walking down the aisle and getting married Taylor Swift style in the future? I mean, I don't see them getting married at Madison Square Garden, but do you see them getting married? So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Jussie and his fiance just broke up, so he was. That's what I was wondering. I was like, was you out here creeping with another man? Did you pull an Ariana Grande? Also, TMZ just posted them at the airport. Oh, okay, so now y'all out here like really trying to pack on the PDA. Not what Cardi say, do anything for. What Nene say, the thirst is real. Karamo need media attention after his show got canceled. Well, he did say he got a couple of gigs coming. That's supposed to come, I think, within the next, by the end of the year into 2027, possibly 2028. So we say he got some things brewing. You shady for this comment. Wait till I get to it. I don't understand all of this discourse about Jussie and Karamo. It is hard out here for Black gay men to find love, period. I don't know why people have so much negativity about that. That's why I said, I did, don't get me wrong, I did throw a couple of little jokey jokes in there, but y'all know how I do. But overall, look, if you like it, I love it. Karamo also trying to win back the Black audience that he been allegedly. They ain't got enough coins for MSG. Maybe not Ruth Chris, chat. They're gonna run out the Ruth Chris. Well, look, as long as I can get some of them baby back ribs. And you said, when people celebrities announce they split with someone, realistically, it already happened about 6 months before the announcement. Well, that's true. People acting like he just left his fiance. Well, people only take things at face value. So plus, in the interview, Karamo said they've been together 6 months. I could be wrong. Well, I might have missed that part, but they said they've been together for. I think they might have mentioned it, so you could be right in that situation. But I don't remember the exact date. They probably been together a while, and y'all don't even know how long it's been. Like how long before that episode aired that they did that interview. So yeah, and I guess because, and maybe what it was with Jussie. He probably timed it where it's like, oh, I've got to announce the breakup because the interview with Karamo and Carlos King is going to be happening, and that I need to put this out there before people start spreading rumors. Because say what you want, people still out here throwing daggers at Jussie, calling him all kinds of whatever, and people still, I guess y'all still like and care about him because y'all still talking about him. Anyway, so let's go from one cast member from Empire to the creator of Empire. And let's talk about Lee Daniels. So, Pride ended officially. Well, we got other prides that's going to be coming up. But the big pride that we have like in New York and LA and all that stuff, pride's kind of come to an end. And I guess in other places in the United States. So now that Pride has come to a close, who said that we got to stop Pride after a month? We can keep it going for as long as we do. Pride should be every damn day. But anyway, speaking of Pride, Lee Daniels is revealing why he has mixed feelings about Pride. So I saw this clip over there at Gay Magazine, and I thought that we should discuss it. And I'll give my overall thoughts after we hear what he has to say. Please hold.
Happy Pride, everybody. I have mixed feelings about Pride because my first Pride was how many years ago? 50 years ago. And so it was more of a movement than it was a celebration. Even though we were celebrating Pride, it was more of a movement. And all my friends were dying. So now it's like Starbucks and rah, rah, rah and glitter and I don't know what it is now, but I think we should be prideful. We should be prideful. Always. No, I don't think. I know we should be prideful. I just don't. I don't. It doesn't mean to me what it meant when I first went to my first Pride. But happy Pride, everybody! Happy Pride, everybody. I have
so
mixed feelings about Pride.
Stop moving in the chair. But anyway, so I totally get where he's coming from in regards to that whole situation, because he's saying, like, when he, around the time that he was doing Pride, he said 50 years ago. I'm like, God damn. Was it really around like that long ago? But anyway, so he's saying that with all of that, it was around the time, I would guess, of like the AIDS Holocaust. A lot of his friends were dying. It was a time when things weren't so great for queer people during Pride season. And it just took him out in a lot of situations, I guess, because he feels that, it was a protest. People were out here trying to fight for rights. And now we're in a situation where everything is hunky-dory, that it feels more like it's advertisements for like Starbucks and Chase Bank, and all these little corporations are trying to come on board for the gay money or whatever. They want to show like they're allies, but then when it comes down to certain situations, y'all be the first ones to abandon ship. But I have noticed that over the years, and a lot of people have been complaining about this, a lot of those big endorsements where you got Disney, well, I don't know if Disney kind of backed out, but when you get these big corporate donations or the corporate sponsorships and stuff, they're starting to kind of backpedal, because so it's like we're going backwards almost. And people are getting a little more conservative, and people aren't being as out loud and proud as they once was. I mean, of course, in LA and New York and all the more liberal spaces, the gays are going to live it up. But there are people, and we're going to get into a conversation about the Supreme Court and how they voted against trans people in sports. We still are dealing with a lot of things regarding, lashings at the queer community. And so I could totally understand where he's coming from with that. But I wanted to see what some of the comments was over here saying. One person said, you have to make Pride about what it means to you. Celebrate in your own way. If you want to go to a huge parade or a club, do just that. If you want to go, a symposium, I don't know if that's what he meant, but that don't make no sense, or rally or conference, do that as well. If you choose not to celebrate at all, that is your choice. All the choices are fully available. Another person said, why would it be the same 50 years ago to now, though? So it's like, yeah, you can't expect things to just be what it was. But I totally understand if you're talking about that it's a little too, it's gotten too corporate, then, or a little too, it's all about the the sponsorships and all the other stuff, that is not about celebrating the true, like celebrating what it really means to be openly queer and prideful. Then that requires a bigger conversation. I need a little more than just a little snippet that Gay Magazine done posted and is getting everybody all riled up. Another person said, why do people get upset when things evolve or change? Pride shouldn't focus on the same issues 50 years ago. Another person said, good talk. Now put the damn phone down now and pick up the keyboard and release the damn Star movie. Another person, I mean, how has he continued to make it movement irrelevant to either his personal or professional expertise? I'm sure some cities' pride, namely Atlanta, the Hollywood of the South, would welcome his platform to move the LGBTQIA representation forward in film production, writing, producers, etc. Another person said, respect to the older gay generation. They definitely went through it. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's that Lee needs to work out whatever trauma that he's had to deal with as a older Black gay man in America. He's got to work out those demons. And honey, maybe the only way you can work them demons out is get in front of a computer and write a script about it and make the movie. Because as the generations continue, we've got to evolve the movement. And yes, Pride was a protest. The very first, it was always been a protest. And we can keep the protests going. But by being visible, by being out there marching, by showing how prideful we are, by showing the joy that we have and not allowing those bigots to take away our spirit or destroy who we are, and us being resilient, that to me is us being prideful. So stop looking at it as just, us being out here and celebrating and making it more corporate. The corporations, they could do whatever the hell they want, but I'm gonna still be out here living my truth regardless of the corporations and all that other stuff. But let me read one. Let me see what he said. Let me read 3 more and then we can get up off this. One person said, yeah, them old heads really went through it, yo. But really, Pride these days is just about normalizing gay behavior so Just be you. If that's Starbucks and glitter, then great. Not everybody is leather in politics. Some people just want to have fun and dance, and that's fine too. And those people show up at the Pride events. Maybe the media doesn't want to show that because it's not going to get, it's not something that reeks of sensationalism, which is what media relies on. And that's why people, oh yeah, I hear being sexual around the kids. Mind you, the main ones that be out here dealing with your children are fucking straight people, but they always want to blame it on the gays. Another person said, Black people are still oppressed, but I'm still shaking as of Juneteenth. Gotta celebrate the small wins, though there's still so much more to be done. There has been a lot of advancement. You don't have to blow bubbles or throw glitter to celebrate, but find a way to celebrate that's meaningful to you. And last one I'm going to read is, I get what he's saying. Pride comes from survival and resistance in the middle of immense loss, especially during the AIDS crisis, and that history just doesn't fade. So I understand why the shift towards celebration can feel complicated for some. At the same time, the joy and visibility now are also part of what the fight of what that fight made possible. We're allowed to dance in spaces that were once only grief, but both can be true. Pride holds activism, remembrance, and celebration all at once, and I think it's important to acknowledge that our elders' feelings and emotions are valid, shaped by experiences many of us would not have been able to endure. And I'm glad I finally came across that one, because I feel like that just puts the bow on the cake, or the icing on the cake and the bow on the present. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Do you agree with what Lee Daniels had to say in regards of, his mixed feelings regarding Pride? I mean, I totally get where he's coming from in regards to all of that, but yeah, the older homosexuals, they've been through some shit. That's why I love conversing with a lot of my older the older gay folks, because you learn so much about what came before us, so that we don't repeat what happened in those times, or we're just ready for whatever's going to happen, because history likes to repeat itself. And in knowing our history of what it's like growing up being queer in America, and what so many queer people, our queer ancestors, had to deal with, you want to be prepared and not have to go through that mess again. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. Let me know what your thoughts are on this story in the comments down below. I understand where he's coming from. It would be nice to go back to the more protest, organized pride, given the environment America is in. But then again, some people just want to get hunched and look. And we have stuff like that. We just had Folsom Street East. I believe it was a week before Pride. A friend of mine, Dijon, works that every year, and I've never gone, but I know quite a few of my friends was there at the Folsom Street East event. Maybe I'll go next year with my little short shorts. Which, child, I wore them going to get me some Chinese food, and this boy chased me down the block trying to hunch. This happened to me earlier today. Hey, Poppy, hey, come in. I'm sitting there ignoring him. I got my my refresher from Dunkin' Donuts in one hand and my bag of Chinese food in another. This boy trying to tell me, you live in the area. I was like, I already know what's coming. And they're gonna mention my dick is all out. No, it wasn't. I had on short shorts. Apparently, it can't hide everything that's down there. But bitch, it's hot. It's 90 degrees. You think I'm gonna be out here I'm dressed like a damn nun? Oh, wait, I didn't read this. You said not Lee Daniels bring down the mood. I wish he would have explained what his ideal Pride season would look like instead of doing. Yeah, that's why I would have been like, so what do you want out of the whole Pride situation? What are you looking for? Instead of don't be you darn kids. You know that shit. Immigrants and trans people being the biggest scapegoats for the current administration, all the while the American 250 fare is more empty than a Camilla. Now, why she had to catch a stray? Yeah, I think there was maybe 50 people that. Yeah, that shit was embarrassing. And the funny part was, Fox News had the nerve to cover that shit from all the angles. It's packed there because we telling y'all it's packed. Where the people at? Where the people at? Where the people at? In the words of Roxy Andrews. Which, funny enough, we did a clip of an old Roxy Andrews interview, and it's funny. She was just on Roscoe's hunting detail. So it's funny how all that worked out. But anyway. All right, now let's get into some more transsexual news. I guess we can go into that. And let's talk about Elliot Page, because Elliot Page out here showing his new body. And I was like, oh. Now, I won't say I won't ever hunch a trans man, but because there have been some men out here that I'm like, ooh, you hot. A hole's a hole. Any hole is a goal, right? But Elliot was out here showing his new body. It was like, okay, first of all, when I saw this picture, I thought this was Arnold Schwarzenegger's son. You know the one that was on Dancing with the Stars that he had found out from Mildred the maid that he had a kid with? I thought that was him at first. And then they said Elliot Page, and I'm like, say what now? So the 39-year-old actor showed off his chiseled physique. Damn, I didn't even realize that Elliot Page was that old. Well, I thought he was younger than that. In a shirtless photo with his trainer and subsequent boxing videos in the ring. Said, I've been incredibly fortunate to train with Coach Nolan. This is what Page captioned in pics and videos. He's a brilliant teacher, not just in the way he breaks down complex movement, but also in his strategic understanding of boxing and his thoughtful approach to the psychological side of the sport. Calling the training an essential part of his life, Page teased, just be warned, you may end up getting as hooked as I am. Now, in the clips, Page is seen shuffling around the ring, punching and jabbing as his trainer hits him with some blue noodles. Now, commenters were wowed by his toned physique. Page more shredded than my banking files. One person wrote, now another person wrote, you could wash laundry on those abs. Keep it up. Amazing way to get us all motivated and get up off our butts. Even Jerry O'Connell jumped in the conversation and said, I gotta unfreeze my gym account. EP, you are ripped. Now Page, who came out as trans in December of 2020, has been open about his journey to probably taking off his shirt in the summertime. Now, having top surgery, Page posted a shirtless selfie in 2023, writing, dysphoria used to be especially rife in the summer. No layers, just a t-shirt, or layers and oh so sweaty, constantly looking down, readjusting my oversized tee. It feels so effing good soaking in the sun now. He added at the time, I never thought I would experience this, the joy I feel in my body. I am so grateful for what gender affirming care has allowed me, and I look forward to sharing more of my journey soon. Now, and Page has also taken on the ability to be an advocate for trans people in his everyday life and said, I hope for anyone who's struggling at this time and the headlines just to know that you're not alone and loved and celebrated by so many. And this is what the Odyssey actor said in a recent interview with Democracy Now! And advised, try to block out the noise from abusive, vile losers who must be so profoundly uncomfortable with themselves they can't handle that someone could get to a place that I think trans people do get to, which is a level of self-acceptance and understanding that I think is really profound. And I have to say, you want to know something? Elliot is absolutely right, because you definitely will get hooked on working out, especially when it comes to boxing. I remember when I was around Elliot's age, it might have been like 37, when I started getting into kickboxing and mixed martial arts and that sort of thing. I started going to the I found out they had UFC gyms in New York. I didn't go to the one in Manhattan. The closest one I went to, because I lived in Queens at the time, I went to the one in Astoria. And so I went in there. Let me tell you, I got in the best shape of my life, and my testosterone was going crazy, because it was me working out in the gym and punching the bag. And literally, when it comes down to boxing, kickboxing, because I took the boxing classes and I took the kickboxing classes, and then the Brazilian jiu-jitsu, you learn all that stuff. I got in the best shape of my life in regards to the whole situation. So I thought it was relatively awesome that this is a sport that you pick up, because you're working out every aspect of your body. You're not just working out one part of your body. And so, like, I learned how to wrap my hands. I learned how to put on the boxing glove. Like, it was just a whole situation. And then sparring with the bag and doing this stuff too. Like, I remember I had trainers that, they hit you with the noodles or whatever, and it's like you have to kind of duck and do all the moves and all the other stuff. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. I definitely want to get back into it. Now I just go to the gym regularly, but I wish that if I wanted to, that I can get back into it. But at the time, I was like, I was paying a lot of money going to boxing classes. It's just a lot cheaper for me to go to go to the gym that I go to and just focus on weights and training and all the other stuff. So all the things I actually learned from doing, you know, boxing and kickboxing and stuff, I apply that in my everyday workouts. So yeah, so shout out to Elliot Page, who is snatched out in these streets, giving full man, honey. So I'll say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Whatever your thoughts are on this matter, let me know in the comments down below. He said testosterone is strong. It's giving very much Star Wars. Testosterone is strong with this one, like the force, honey. Yeah, she definitely. I was like, look, shout out to, I mean, whatever testosterone you taking. It's like, yeah, it's giving full on, man. Maybe I need some of those. But I am, since I'm older, I have been taking testosterone, because you know men's testosterone goes down at a certain age. Like when you're in your 30s, it starts to wane. So I started taking Mars Men pills. Like I take 5 a day, and it definitely helps with a lot of like my energy and the testosterone levels and all the other stuff. And it's like, it's organic. It's expensive too. It's like $60 a month that I'm paying for them. But yeah, so shit, I need to have y'all advertise on this show. It definitely works wonders. We need some sponsors over here. But anyway, so speaking of trans, let's get into our final topic. And let's talk about this recent court filing from the idiots over there at Supreme Court. Why were you living for Supreme Court for not allowing birthright citizenship to be abolished, courtesy of that idiot in the White House? Fuck y'all for this shit. So, the Supreme Court has recently sided with Idaho and West Virginia to ban trans athletes from sports. And we have some drag race girls who have pretty much spoken out in regards of the situation. And they're like, we are not here for this foolishness. So let's get into the story. So after the Supreme Court upheld Tuesday 2 states' anti-trans laws barring transgender athletes for women's sports, 5 queens from the RuPaul's Drag Race franchise exclusively reacted to Entertainment Weekly over the fucked up judicial move that fell on the final day of Lebidiqua Pride Month. That's LGBTQ, for those of you who are new. Now, the conservative majority court ruled that laws in Idaho and West Virginia don't violate the United States Constitution, with the justices unanimously agreeing that barring transgender girls and women also doesn't run afoul with the federal law known as Title IX. Isn't it Title IX? Which prohibits sex discrimination in education, according to the Associated Press. The decision is heartbreaking for many in our community. Drag Race Season 15 winner Sasha Colby tells Entertainment Weekly, as a trans woman, I know how important it is to feel seen, valued, and accepted for who you are. Every young person deserves the chance to grow, dream, and participate without fear of being made to feel like they don't belong. Now, Sasha, who rose to prominence as the esteemed Miss Continental pageant winner and spoke at Kamala Harris's White House Pride event in 2023, and also won Drag Race Season 15, let's not forget that, adds that she hopes we continue to choose compassion over fear, understanding over division, and never lose sight of each other's humanity amid decisions like this. After they destroy us, they will continue to come after you. We're all in this together, she finishes. Now, fresh off her workroom return on last year's All-Stars 10, Season 9 alum and New York City ballroom staple, Aja, said she is most concerned about what the ruling represents for the current state of not only American politics, but also American literacy or media literacy. Now, over the last 5 years of my transition, I've realized so much of the anti-trans rhetoric begins online. Misinformation spreads through social media until it starts influencing real-world policy and eventually decisions like this. That's why I believe it's so important to challenge misinformation before it becomes accepted as fact. This is what she told EW. Now, Aja will perform at her facial feminization. She'll perform at her facial feminization surgery and recovery. Oh, okay. So She's got a facial feminization surgery and recovery fundraiser that she's going to be putting together on July 26th, and she's performing there. Speculates that decisions such as the courts seemed rooted in exclusion rather than thoughtful discussion, the latter of which, she says, might lead to the discovery of facts that refute reasoning for banning trans women and girls and women's sports in the first place. Saying, quote, hormone therapy dramatically changes the body over time, affecting muscle mass, strength, endurance, fat distribution, and countless other physiological factors, said Aja, pointing to perceived fears that trans women and girls might have a physical advantage over other women in sports, which is not true, because if you're taking estrogen, you're getting just about as the same type of shit that regular women are dealing with. Now, Aja's reasoning is supported by scientific research, including but not limited to the Trans Health Research Organization at the University of Melbourne, where doctors found that fat mass increases by around 30% and muscle mass decreases at about around 5% in trans women over the first year in hormone therapy. The same study also found that after 2 years of hormone therapy, trans women show little to no advantage over cis women in tests like running 1.5 miles or number of sit-ups. Didn't I just say that? Like, they're no different than just regular women, natural born, biological, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Trans women is on an equal plane, because just like women who produce estrogen, trans women are taking estrogen. Therefore, it's the same shit. You know, science. And you wonder why they banning science and all kinds of other shit in this country. This is why people are so damn uneducated now. And unfortunately, I guess what it's going to have to take is trans people coming out and educating people on the situation. But then, you're always going to have those who don't want to hear it and just believe what they want to believe. But you can't focus on them. So now they said the same study also found that after, I think I read this one already, right? Yep. And it said, and by 1 to 3 years on hormones, many performance differences in studied metrics narrowly, substantially, or disappear, despite some small residual advantage in strength tests. Now, the idea that a trans woman who has been on hormone therapy for years is physically identical to a cisgender man simply isn't an accurate reflection of the science, Aja says. At the same time, I understand that people have genuine concerns about fairness in competitive sports. That's exactly why these conversations deserve evidence-based policies, not fear-driven narratives or blanket assumptions. But on more than just a physical level, season 17 finalist Lexi Love calls the decision an emotional one and finds it incredibly sad, and similar rulings have continued under the Trump administration. Well, Trump regime. Y'all know what I like to call it that. However disappointed they might be, it shouldn't be surprising, said Lexi, who hosts a monthly drag party in Cincinnati that she's looking to expand across the Midwest soon. People need to wake up, because we can't stay in our own bubbles and ignore what's happening in the real world outside of safe spaces the community creates. Now, Honey Mahogany, a season 5 contestant who later became heavily involved in advocacy in California politics and currently serves as the director of San Francisco's Office of Transgender Initiatives, also told EW the ruling was not unexpected, but still called it deeply disappointing to watch. However, I'm grateful that it appears to be limited in its scope. Here in California, trans people still have protections, and trans youth will be able to continue playing in sports and align with their gender identity. Aja also calls an increase in anti-trans discourse and legislation to the contrary a symptom of a cultural panic, despite trans people factually occupying a small percentage of the population. And I've been saying that, like, yeah, there's only a small group of trans people who occupy sports, and yet y'all trying to make it like it's 50%. It's like less than maybe 1% or something or another. And then we just have something, because I just had to look this up. Then we have this story. Wait, am I done? Well, I'm not even finished with the whole thing. And then I'm gonna bring up the thing about New York, because they did say that California is a sanctuary for trans people. Well, New York, Mom Donnie just put down, dropped a bomb on the whole situation regarding trans people as well. So we're going to get into that after this. But every policy that excludes trans people sends a message about who belongs and who doesn't. As a Black trans woman, I already navigate the world with an awareness of my safety. Seeing rulings like this makes me wonder whether discrimination against people like me is becoming more socially acceptable. That's a heavy feeling to carry. This is what Aja says, expressing that she hopes the conversation can move away from one driven by fear and toward compassion, evidence, and the understanding that trans people are human beings who deserve the same dignity and opportunity as everyone else. Lexi agrees, explaining that being trans isn't a choice or a trend, it's simply who we are. Right now, the T in LGBTQIA+ is under the microscope, but these attacks affect our entire community. More than ever, we need to support queer spaces, show up for our communities, educate ourselves and others, and most importantly, vote. The midterm elections this November are our biggest opportunity to push back, so make sure you are registered and go vote. But perhaps season 16 contestant, A Mandatory Meeting, sums up the collective frustration with a swift summation of how the community feels after decades of fighting for the right to exist. She said, girl, this is fucked up. So that's all she had to add to it. But then most recently, we had a story, what was it, June 26th, this story came out. Zohran Mamdani, our mayor, who everybody's be hating on, those who are outsiders looking in, basically launched a $15 million trans care investment and said that, New York City is stepping up. So shout out to my favorite mayor. Mayor Zohran Mamdani is expanding access to gender-affirming care for trans people across New York City as the Trump regime moves to limit transition-related treatment for minors throughout the United States. The Mamdani administration tells them it will be launching a $15 million investment into 3 initiatives designed to safeguard access to gender-affirming care, a direct gender-affirming care access fund, a call and text line that will connect trans New Yorkers to available resources to receive care, and more funding for research on LGBTQ+ healthcare. Saying, quote, every New Yorker should have the freedom to live as themselves and access the healthcare they need. This is what he said in exclusive with them. As the federal government attacks trans people and attempts to intimidate parents, families, and providers, New York City is stepping their pussy up. I said that last part. We will protect care, support the providers delivering it, and make clear that trans New Yorkers belong in this city. Healthcare is a human right, and we will do everything in our power to defend it. So, they also said the new expanded care initiatives for trans people come shortly after New York City's June 11th amicus brief on June 11th supporting a lawsuit filed by trans patients and their families against NYU Langone Health to prevent the hospital system from disclosing private medical information to the Justice Department. Trump's DOJ had criminally subpoenaed the major New York hospital in May, demanding private medical information about trans. Why? You want to fuck them? Because it's none of your damn business. Demanding private medical information about trans patients of NYU who received gender-affirming care as minors between 2020 and 2026. So it's funny how you want to protect trans minors from getting the health care, the care that they need, but y'all not protecting children from pedophiles? Okay. Because we know a lot of y'all is on that damn Epstein, in the Epstein files. Now, on Wednesday, a federal judge granted an injunction temporary blocking the DOJ subpoena of these sensitive medical records. Because, we have something called HIPAA laws. There's none of your goddamn fucking business releasing someone's medical information. I have a right to know what young children are getting gender-affirming care. And they said that on Thursday, however, the organizers of NYC Pride said they would allow both NYU Langone and Mount Sinai to participate in the march, saying that many contingents, including those of local hospitals and healthcare systems, are driven by the organization's LGBTQ+ groups, not the leaders making system-wide decisions. So the Mamdani administration's latest expansion of gender-affirming care resources comes as LGBTQ+ New Yorkers await the finalization of the city budget in July. So shout out to all of y'all. Shout out to the Mamdani administration for pushing this $15 million trans care investment, because it's like, yeah, while LA is saying that they're stepping up in this matter, we gonna step our pussies up out here in New York too. So shout out to my trans community. I know there's a lot of you that want to try to eliminate the T from LGBT, but here's the thing, and I always say this: if it wasn't for the T and LGBT, we would not have the rights that we have today. So stop hating on our trans brothers and sisters, and stop hating on the feminine queens that was out here marching and protesting, so that way you heifers can be able to live comfortably in your little sanctuary cities and enjoy the privileges and the fruits of your labor. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story about the Supreme Court showing their entire ass in this whole trans situation? And the thing I've told y'all about Mom Donnie, his $15 million trans care investment, where we're going to step up and we're going to show and support and protect trans lives. So whatever your thoughts are on this matter, let me know in the comments down below. Thomas was pretty mean and said, we need to send these people. Are you talking about Clarence Thomas? Wait, there's a picture I got to show y'all that I posted of Clarence Thomas. And it was hilarious. Let me see if I could find it up in here. Oh wait, why do that when I could have just did this? I was like, I had it saved in the situation. Hold on, let me pull this thing up so y'all can see it. We talking about Clarence Thomas. When I saw this, I laughed. It says Coon, C-U-N-E. Instead of Dune, honey, we got Coon. Because he is one. Anyway, so there's this trans artist by the name of Eli, and I want you to tell me if they give you fake T-girl tees. She posted a full-blown rant about Taylor Swift and said, okay, so is this person on TikTok? Because you know TikTok has an affinity of posting these weird out there with the buses don't run type trans folks, or because I was seeing a video about that. I don't know if it was Kayla Says that posted it, but they was about how they like to highlight problematic queer people, and it's like y'all literally laughing at them on social media. So I'm wondering if that's what that was. But you said she's also performing at Olivia's Daisy Fields Festival. She still has pictures of herself before she transitioned. And you know what? If she had, well, you know what I always say, if you like it, I love it. Google them, bitch. Oh, girl. She's a new pop star making waves. This is one picture, but she look a mess. Wait, this was her when she was. Oh yeah, I do see some of the pictures up here when they was a boy, and they had tattoos. Did they get them all removed? They said how Eli went viral on TikTok and found fans in Doechii and Meghan Trainor. Not as giving fraud, child. But anyway, all right, y'all. So it looks like we're at the end of the show. I want to thank you all for tuning in to the latest episode of Chris Avila Unfiltered. Hit that like button, subscribe, smash the notification bell, hit the hype button, all that stuff. Help this show go. Get out there and out in the world of the algorithms. We'll be back tomorrow. I know I said I was going to be on yesterday, but child, I was exhausted. I didn't realize that my body was just like, it needed some rest. Because I went from working back to back, dealing with a lot of stuff. My emotional situation was, my emotional battery was drained. And then on top of that, I was like, oh, I got to give y'all a show. And doing 4 hours of that, I was like, yeah, I needed to like rest. So I was like, and I was exhausted. But today I got a lot more energy as y'all saw. See, I'll be back on tomorrow. We'll have a guest on promoting his clothing line and all that good stuff, and some more celebrity news and gossip if there is. Well, I'm sure there will be. So the usual. We'll also have on a guest, and Eric Alon is the guest. and they'll be coming on to promote their clothing lines, I said before. So yeah, love you all for watching. Thank you for your continued support. And until next time, ciao, darlings.